Well, it's just about 4 minutes to 9:30, the time allocated for the National Assembly proceedings morning sitting on this 6th day of November, the year 2024. These proceedings are streaming from the Parliament buildings in Nairobi, and it is a live broadcast that is brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in partnership with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. I hope you are having a good morning. A warm welcome to you to these National Assembly proceedings this morning. My name is Kamche Menza. On the order of business for the members of the National Assembly as they convene this sitting this morning, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 44, paragraph 2, part C, with regards to statements and also responses of statements. There are members here whose statements will be responded to. And these members include the Honorable Member for Garissa Township, Honorable Barrow Deko. He was seeking a statement with regards to the abduction of 4 persons in Garissa. And this is a statement that was forwarded to the relevant committee, that is the Administration and Internal Security Committee. And this morning, the Honorable Member will be getting a response with regards to that particular statement. The Honorable Member for Gishugu, Robert Gishimu, will also receive a response on his statement. This is with regards to payment of tea bonuses for Kimunye and Thumaita tea factories for the financial year 2023 and 2024. The committee that took this mandate was the Agriculture and Livestock Development Committee. Also, pursuant to the provisions of that particular standing order, the Honorable Member for Laikipia North, Honorable Sarah Korere, will also receive a response on a statement with regards to the lease of agricultural development land in Rumuruti, if you like, the ADC land in Rumuruti. This is a statement that was taken up by the Agriculture and Livestock Development Committee. These are responses that the members will be receiving following the statements that they had issued and seeking responses from the relevant committees or from committees whereby those statements were handed over to those committees whose mandate was with regards to the issues that the members had raised in the statements. This morning, the members of the National Assembly will also resume debate on a number of motions. One of the motions is the motion on the comprehensive reform of education bursary schemes to ensure free basic education in Kenya. This is a motion that is moved by the Honorable Member for Nairobi County, Honorable Esther Passaris. And this is with regards to or in cognizance over the provisions of the Constitution that every person has the right to education, that every child has a right to free and compulsory basic education. And in this particular motion, the Honorable Member will be seeking to have the House, or urges the House, that the government, through the Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the relevant stakeholders, undertake a comprehensive overhaul of the education bursary system with a view to collapse all bursary schemes and allocate the funds to the State Department of Education for the provision of free basic education through capitation to be directly remitted to schools. This motion, debate on it already started on the floor of the House, and this morning it will be a resumption after it was interrupted on the Wednesday of September 25th, the year 2024, in the morning sitting. That is the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Gladys Boss, already in the chambers. Allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast brought to you by PBU in partnership with KBC. My name is Kamche Menza. Good morning.
Members, let us pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. Amen. Sergeant at Arms, ring the division bell for 10 minutes.
The quorum bell is currently on for the members to be able to make their way to the chambers. The House has not quorated for it to be able to commence its business. This is pursuant to the House Standing Order number 34, that at least 50 members should be inside the chambers, seated inside the chambers for the House to commence its business. And if that quorum is not achieved or present after the prayer is said and the chair taken, then that will necessitate that particular quorum bell. Those are members making their way into the chambers. Once that quorum is achieved, then the business will right away begin. Sergeant at Arms are also keeping tabs with the numbers as the members are making their way into the chambers. And once that quorum is achieved, then they will be able to alert the clerk, and the speaker will call the House to order for the House to commence the business. Back to what the members will be transacting this morning. The motion on the Comprehensive Forum of Education Bursary Schemes to ensure free basic education in Kenya is a business that will be transacted this morning. With that debate resuming, the Honorable Member for Nairobi County, Esther Passaris, in this motion cites that bursaries play a vital role in supplementing funding for enhancing access to education, particularly for students from disadvantaged backgrounds, and contributes to the realization of universal basic education. That various education bursaries exist in the country, including ward-based level bursary, county government's bursary, National Government Constituency Development Fund, commonly referred to as NGCDF, the National Government Affirmative Action Fund, commonly referred to as NGAF, and the Presidential Secondary School Bursary, PSSB. That the evolution of bursary schemes from centralized to community-based administration aimed to enhance educational schemes, aimed to enhance educational access, equity, and responsiveness to local needs. Concerned that despite these efforts, the current bursary system faces numerous challenges, including lack of standardized and transparent selection criteria, delay in disbursement of funds, and insufficient coverage of education costs, leading to gaps in support. It is from that those concerns that the honourable member will be seeking to have the House urge the government to undertake a comprehensive overhaul of the education bursary system with a view to collapse all bursary schemes and allocate the funds to the State Department of Education for provision of free basic education through capitation to be directly remitted to schools. The members will also resume debate on the establishment of a science museum. This is a motion by the Honourable Member John Kiarie, and a debate on this motion also already kicked off on the floor of the House. This morning's business on this particular motion will be a resumption of a debate that was interrupted on Wednesday, October 2nd, the year 2024, during the morning sitting, and members who may have not been able to participate in this particular motion, then they will be able to participate. If you're just joining us, is that the prayer has been said and the chair has been taken, but the House cannot yet commence its business owing to the fact that the House has not quorated to the required number for the House to commence its business, or at the commencement of House business. At least 50 members should be inside the chambers. And if that quorum bell is on, then that clearly indicates that there are no 50 members inside the chambers, and we're still waiting for that number to be achieved. That is the entrance of the chambers. Members are expected to be walking into the chamber. Once that quorum is achieved, that is Honorable Emmanuel Wangwe making his way into the chambers. Just a few more members needed for the House to attain that particular quorum, and then the House will, without any further delay, commence. The establishment of a science museum motion this morning will resume a debate, and this is in cognizance of the provisions of articles of the Constitution that provide that the government shall recognize the role of science and indigenous technologies in the development of the nation. That Vision 2030 provides for the integration of information, communication, and technology in the country's transformative agenda. Also, there exists no science museum for consolidating indigenous scientific and technological innovations, training, and research purposes in the East African region. The integration of science and technology would greatly enhance Kenya's economic and societal success. That there is potential for growth in the technology sector by establishing a science museum. The informal science education plays a key role in the progression of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, commonly referred to as STEM. The Sergeant at Arms indicating that waiting for about 4 members. That is Honorable Naomi Wako. At this point, she needs to be whipping the members to be able to make their way to the chambers for the House to be able to commence its business this morning.
Honorable members, we may proceed. Sergeant at Arms, you can stop the bell. First order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Honorable Ako for the Majority Leader. Let me present the papers.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, November 6th, 2024, morning sitting. Number 1, session of paper number 5 of 2024 on the National Green Fiscal Incentive Policy Framework from the Office of the Attorney General. Number 2, end of the term report for the year 2018-2019 to 2023-2024 and 2024 third National Wage Bill Conference report from the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. Number 3, annual county government budget implementation review report for the year 223/24 from the Office of the Controller of Budget. And number 4, reports of the Auditor General and financial statement for the year ended 30th June 2024 and the certificates therein in respect of 1, Kenya Electricity Generating Company, PLC, and 2, Kenya Power and Lightning Company. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I lay.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
I think member the following statements are supposed to be responded to by the Chairperson, Administration and Internal Security. The question that had been posed by the member for Garissa Township. Vice Chair is here. Honorable Russell, you may proceed.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish to respond to a request for a statement regarding abduction of persons in Garissa Township. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I take it again, Honorable Speaker. Statement regarding the abduction of persons in Garissa Township. Honorable Speaker, the Member of Parliament for Garissa Township constituency, Honorable Barodeko, has requested for a statement regarding the abduction of 4 persons from Garissa town: Mohamed Abdullahi Hire, Mohamed Buya Shangalo, Mohamed Hussein Ibrahim, and Idre Farabib. The Honorable Member of Parliament alleged that the 4 were abducted by police officers cracking down on terror suspects, and particularly requested to be informed the circumstances that led to the abduction of the 4 persons, place where the 4 missing persons are held, and the status of investigation into their respective cases, and measures the government has put in place to ensure that counter-terrorism initiatives are carried out in strict compliance with the law. I state as follows: the circumstance that led to the abduction of 4 persons from Garissa town and identity of the abductors. Honorable Speaker, the disappearance of the following 3 persons was reported at Garissa Police Station: Mohamed Abdullahi Hire, Vide OB number 10129 2024. Mohammed Hussein Ibrahim, OB number 98-3007-2024. And Idle Farabib, OB number 46-3007-2024. All these three reported cases are under investigation by DCI. The circumstances surrounding the abduction is not yet known. Honorable Speaker, the government is not aware of disappearance of Mr. Mohammed Buya Shangalo. The family members are therefore advised to report to the disappearance at their nearest police station to allow commencement of investigation. Honorable Speaker, the National Police Service is employing every measure to establish the whereabouts of the reported missing persons. 3, the measures the government has put in place to ensure that counterterrorism initiatives are carried out in strict compliance with the law and international human rights standards. Honorable Speaker, the government has taken the following measures. 1, briefing officers on proper conduct wherever they are deployed on duty. 2, strict supervising officers while performing their duties by immediate commanders. 3, taking both criminal and disciplinary action against any officer found culpable of breaking the law. 4, encouraging the civilians to report any misconduct of police through the National Police Service toll-free number, Fichua kwa DCI, as well as oversight authorities such as the Independence Police Oversight Authority and the Internal Affairs Unit. Further, I retaliate that the government has no policy on abduction, and any officer implicated in such vice will individually be held accountable for their actions. Honorable Speaker, I beg to respond.
Thank you, Honorable Russell. On behalf of the Chairperson for Administration and Internal Security, Member for Garissa Township, you have any response to it?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have heard the response from the Internal Security Committee Chair, and I want to report to this House that I do not believe or trust the information that the Honorable Member has given the Chair to be the factual thing. We have always said, Madam Chair, that we get the answers we get from the ministries and departments are such that they are drawn from their computer labs, computer desktops, and nothing reported from the ground. Because one of the victims that we are talking about, Madam Speaker, Mohammed Abdullahi Hire, has reported since and has been found the day after I gave that statement. And in the response that we got this morning is that he's still missing. It just shows you that, Madam Speaker, this investigation or response is not what is actually on the ground. And one Mohammed Shangolo, who is reported, whom has the chairman who has said just now that he has not reported or is not reported as a missing person with the police station. The police have that information, and it is recorded because they were abducted on the same day, and they were reported to be missing on the same day by the same people, or the same people who went to the police station have reported all of them missing. The fact that the chair of the committee has come and said he's not been reported missing, and one is still missing who has already been found or who has since been found, is very unfortunate. Madam Speaker, I think we need to take this matter very seriously, and the committee chairmen to give us the right information that we need. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Russell, have you noted that? There are concerns. How are you going to deal with the concerns by the member for Garissa Township?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I think from the statement given by the CS Interior, it's clear that abduction or citizens who are hijacked by authorities who are linked to government is not within what we call the policy of the Kenyan government, because we believe in the rule of law. And this is a country that is governed by the rule of law. So clearly, the minister has said that cannot be a policy of government. Secondly, those individuals who are reported missing, I think one clear thing is you must report to the nearest police station so that there is government record. Thirdly, the committee yesterday met with IPOA and also Kenya National Commission of Human Rights, addressing the same issues of abductions and missing persons. Thirdly, tomorrow we are meeting with the National Police Service, actually to highlight the same cases and what the National Police should do if indeed it is them who are involved. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Beatrice Elachi, you wanted to speak to this? Okay. Thank you. We can move to the next question. The next response by the Honorable Member for the Chairperson of the Agriculture and Livestock and Development Committee to respond to the question by the Member for Gishugu, Honorable Gichumu. Who is speaking on behalf of the Agriculture? The Chairperson is not present. Mutunga is here. No, it's Honorable Mutunga. Is the Vice Chairperson here? Honorable Brighton? The Chairperson is not here. Do you have any response from him? From your committee? Obviously, it's come to you as a surprise, so it's not happening. So I think we can pass that. And I think the substantive speaker had made it very clear that chairperson should be present. I think the majority leader knows that they are supposed to be here when they have supposed to respond to questions. Yes, Honorable.
Our chairperson is out of the country, but we will respond if you give us a chance in the afternoon session.
Yes, but you know, if the chairperson is not present, then there's a vice chairperson or other members of the committee. So that is not, I think you must express the displeasure of the House to your chairperson, because he can delegate it to either the vice chair or a member of the committee. Thank you. Yes, Honorable Ruku.
Honorable Speaker, I think that's why it is important to talk to the leadership of this House, that the chairmen or the chairpersons who are not taking their responsibility seriously, they are failing this House and they are failing Kenyans. And I think it is high time some of these committees are reconstituted afresh so that we can be able to see chairmen sitting here taking the matters of Kenyans seriously. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. We can move to the next response to the statement by the Honorable Sarah Korore against the Agriculture and Livestock and Development Committee. Again, there is no response, and the chairperson is not present, so we can proceed. Yes, your point of order, Honorable Makale Mulu.
Honorable Speaker, I think from what you are saying from your seat in terms of the absence of the chairperson of Agriculture, I'm wondering, was this information communicated? Was the committee aware that these statements are supposed to be responded to? Because you might be blaming the chair, maybe because every committee has a chair and has a vice chair. I'm not sure that the chair is out of the country and the vice chair is out of the country. Was the communication also sent to them before we blame them, Honorable Speaker? Thank you.
Usually, the moment a question is asked, it is immediately transmitted to the relevant government department or ministry. And then thereafter, the response is sent and marked to the committee. So the committee clerk would be aware, who would make the chairperson aware. And if the chairperson is not present, any other member can read the response, because the response would be available. So either the response never came at all from the ministry, or if it did, then it hasn't been given to other members of the committee in the absence of the chair. But I think, Honorable Brighton, we can task you with the responsibility to find out from the clerk whether the response has been given and whether the question was in fact sent out. And yes, thank you. Yes, what's your point of order, Honorable Kibagen?
Chair, Honorable Bissau, not Kibagendi.
Sorry, Honorable Bissau Kakai.
I think our performance is deteriorating. We had an issue yesterday by Honorable Yusuf Adan, a very important discussion or tabling of a report on cohesion. And being the chair, he didn't have even a single member to second what he was presenting. So there are situations also where we have the chair So, Madam Speaker, I'm saying yesterday we had a submission of a report on cohesion, a very important subject for this republic, by Honorable Yusuf. And being the chair, he didn't even have a member from his committee to second. He took a mother member of this house outside his committee to second. So as much as we are talking about the chairs, then also when the chairs come, they should have their members, especially on an important motion like that. Otherwise, our performance is deteriorating. As a house, we need to do something.
Okay, let's move to the next. Order.
Order number 8, motion, comprehensive reform of education bursary schemes to ensure free basic education in Kenya. Resumption of debate.
Okay, honorable members, we have a balance of 58 minutes on this particular motion, and as at the end of the last debate, Honorable Phyllis Bartor had a balance of 4 minutes. She's not in the house, so press the intervention button if you want to give. Okay, Honorable Beatrice Elachi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Allow me also to first appreciate and thank Esther Passaris for bringing in this motion for a comprehensive reform of education bursary schemes to ensure free basic education in Kenya. Madam Speaker, for the many years that we've had, and especially during the time of the late His Excellency Mwai Kibaki, I think Kenya would have wished, and we still wish, to see completely free education for both primary and secondary. Madam Speaker, we are now in a new dispensation. We are entering into CBC. Each honorable member would want to see now our children having dignity as they go to their junior secondary, as we move to the new system. And Madam Speaker, as much as this is critical for us, I know the biggest challenge, and honorable members will say here, is that the problem is not about putting the bursary together so that you have a comprehensive bursary scheme. The challenge we face, Madam Speaker, and this is not just about CDF, it's about when you look at all the stakeholders that play a key role in the education system of Kenya. That is Equity Bank, that is KCB, that is every person who comes in to support. You will always find yourself in challenges of how come we are supporting so much and we still have many young children yearning to be supported. Some are still, even to date, you'll find a few of them who have not even joined high school because of bursary. Somewhere in the corner of Kenya, if you check, Madam Speaker, you will find a bright child who is yearning to go to school, but up to date has not gotten that support. And so, Madam Speaker, as I support this, what I want the government to do, and this is something that has to come before we even think of the scheme, Madam Speaker, is that every child in this country, let them have a NEMIS number. Let us get to know the capitation of each child so that we are able to know how many children are we talking about. Do not discriminate children because others are in ABET schools and others are in public schools. All of them are Kenyans. And one of the things as members of parliament we should be thinking is how do we ensure, even as we support bursary, as we support all this, that every child can find a uniform, because most of them, why they don't go to public schools, you find the parent telling you, this child is unable to afford uniform, this child is unable to afford the books they're being asked, this child is unable to afford the 6,000 or 5,000 they are being requested to pay. So for me, Mr. Speaker, is that indeed we need to have a way of having free education in this country, but let us do it in the right way. Mr. Speaker, you remember to date, we are still fighting the Ministry of Education with capitation. And I think the biggest challenge we face is not about how the bursary is being given or how about anything, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the challenge we face is we have people who have lived in Jogo for a while now, and they will tell you how they are doing things, yet part of them are the biggest problem we are facing, Mr. Speaker. So if you have been in a system for 30 years, why is it that we cannot make it right for our children in this country? And Mr. Speaker, we have to be very clear that indeed every child has a right in this country, even the one who doesn't have a parent. So we have many bursaries, some of it, in fact, even the ABET schools that we are talking about, some of them you'll find them using our own children to say that now you will find sponsors coming in. But you don't care how the child is going to move to high school. That is the time the child is left, Mr. Speaker. So if we are doing this junior secondary, we must change the system of this country on how we look at things, Mr. Speaker. That indeed, I saw the other day, Kupet now. You see, when you find ourselves, Mr. Speaker, fighting that Kupet must be somewhere so that they continue having numbers of union, and the children themselves, when they close school, they don't even have food. Those are the things this House should not allow. We are not here to make our children and teachers to be unions. We are here to see a country that standardizes, that makes it pure, that education is the only merit a child can have to sit on a table with any other child, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, while I support my leader, Esther Passaris, and to wish her that this indeed is needed, but we have to do it in the right way. Before we do anything on this, let every child have, now they are moving it from NEMIS to chemist. So let every child have a chemist number. In January, let this matter of birth certificates be stopped completely. The same way we are trying to give Form 4s the IDs in school. Let the Ministry of Migration that deals with identification of birth certificates, death certificates, go and sit in every school to ensure every child has a birth certificate. You find that, Mr. Speaker, today, capitation, you find I have a school, 3,600 children. Only 200 have NEMIS numbers. So where does that capitation, after we've given the ministry all this money, go? And yet you are saying you have 3,000 children in this school, 5,000 children in this school. Where does the money go? So let every child in this country be counted for, so that we itemize the budget here and say, we are now giving capitation of 1 or 2 million children. We know this is the amount they are taking, and this will support, will be better for the education system. Mr. Speaker, as I finalize, the other thing I need the ministry to do now is to ensure to tell us, we have teachers who have gone and most of them are in arts subjects, humanities. How do we support these teachers to go back for a refresher so that those who want to teach science can now go and teach science, and so that we get more science teachers, because I understand we don't even have. So if we don't even have and CBC is science, how are we moving on, Mr. Speaker? While we celebrate, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank everyone, that indeed the education system that we are going in, let us start at the right slate. Let us not do the mistakes we have done, that I have seen so many mistakes in this last system, where books, a number of books you can't understand. Parents today, they wake up today, they are supposed to do this. And also, Mr. Speaker, why can't we look in our secondaries? Because I can see many secondaries saying, oh, we have lacked fees, parents are crying. But there's that standard of school fees. Every child is able to pay. And if a school is able to run with that amount, Mr. Speaker, why is it that you'll force a school to have school fees 25,000, yet you know very well most parents are paying 16,000? Why can the ministry look at that and standardize where you know parents are able to pay, so that schools do not have pending, yet they are able to move until they... So you even wonder, is it viable? What is viable is what we need to use, Mr. Speaker. What is viable? And this is something the ministry should help us. Another thing that the ministry should look at, you cannot tell me where, for example, in Nairobi, so I have, yes, 24 schools, but nearly how many students are there? Beyond 40,000, 50,000. So you can't tell me, because I have those, you now start giving me a capitation of building classrooms because of the numbers of school I have. It is wrong. You should be looking at the numbers of students I have. And this is one thing we should be pushing. And I understand we have 6,500 schools with less than 100 students. I mean, honestly, honorable members, even us, we should question ourselves. We did wrong to build more schools, yet we don't have enough teachers, we don't have enough students, and yet you have spent money, and now you are supposed to ensure this school is sustainable. So, Mr. Speaker, as I finalize, I want to really thank the Americans for voting in Trump to finish the culture of what our children have been crying for, a culture that is not our culture, and now America has awakened itself. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Charles Nguna, I want to recognize the students at the Speaker's Gallery, but why are you so excited? You keep punching there. What is the matter?
Mr. Speaker, you know my name is CNN. And then CNN, I know CNN and you, Mr. Speaker, you supported Donald Trump to win the elections. And I want to bring the breaking news to the House that Donald Trump is the president of the United States of America. So congratulations to him, and that is why I am excited. And I, being the CNN, I just wanted to bring the news to you, Mr. Speaker, so that we can celebrate this victory. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity.
Very interesting. Yeah, I see the chair of the ICT committee contesting. But honorable members, let me recognize the students from Starehe Boys Center and Regis School, Runda, who are seated at the Speaker's Gallery. Honorable members, I wish to recognize 19 students from Starehe Boys Center and from Regis Academy, Runda, who are seated in the Speaker's Gallery. The students from Starehe Boys Center are in the National Assembly on a voluntary service scheme that gives them an opportunity to give back to the community by serving in different organizations during the school holidays. The students from Regis School Runda are here as part of their job shadowing program, which the school undertakes in various institutions during the school holidays. Honorable members, on my own behalf and on that of the National Assembly, I welcome them to Parliament and wish them a positive experience in their service to the National Assembly and to the nation. I thank you. The Honorable Nabi Nabwera, MP for Lugari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, I want to associate myself with the remarks by one CNN that the world order by the act of the Americans is poised to change. That I'm excited that the war in the Middle East will end. I'm excited that the children in Russia and Ukraine will go to school. That I'm excited that our armed forces in Haiti will come back home. Mr. Speaker, let me move on to support the motion by saying that our Constitution 2010 recognizes education as a right. And Mr. Speaker, if you read the Constitution properly, you will agree with me that it goes further to give a status of education in the Constitution, that among the rights is not only a social right, it also enables the economic rights in the Constitution. Therefore, it's an enabler of attaining other rights as provided for in our Constitution. I've listened since yesterday, Mr. Speaker, and I just want to take it further. Maybe, Mr. Speaker, we need to be talking about making education really free. From ECD to university. And Mr. Speaker, allow me to share with you figures which I've tried to work out. Our budget as is, we have about 680 billion for education. And the areas of shortfall is one, having enough capitation that will allow our children to learn free. Two, having enough money to employ enough teachers. Three, having enough money for university funding to make it free. Mr. Speaker, as I go into my figures, I want to remind my colleagues and the country that China, with 467 million students, education is almost free. It is funded by the state, 92.67%. We just have a fraction. Now, what do we need to do if we were to make education free from ECD to university? Mr. Speaker, we will need an extra 46 billion for TSC, and that would be enough to employ the teachers we are looking for JSS, for primary, for secondary. We will need another 8.2 billion as a conditional grant to the counties to go to ECD so that we can employ ECD teachers properly. Mr. Speaker, you will need another 76.8 billion shillings to go to the university funding. Mr. Speaker, the animal in this house is on how to manage infrastructure in schools. The Ministry of Education has really underperformed. It has actually discriminated some other areas. If we were to organize the infrastructure of schools, You, Mr. Speaker, and I speak this from a point of knowledge. You will need another 34 billion to be given as a conditional grant to NGCDF. You will have all the classrooms you need in this country and proper classrooms. You will have all the resource centers you need. You will need another 9 billion shillings to go towards resourcing the laboratories, the libraries in the junior school and in the secondary school. In a nutshell, Mr. Speaker, you need to grow our budget, which is affordable, from 680 to 936 billion. You will provide free education. And I don't think we would be asking too much from a budget of 4 trillion to give an enabler, to give an equalizer sector that amount of money. Mr. Speaker, if I can recall, this country has money currently in excess of 12 billion, which is being managed by Jomo Kenyatta Foundation for bursary. But if I ask these members in this house, how many children do you know in your village who are benefiting from that? None of you will know. What am I trying to say? Even if we were to create a bursary for all, a fund, unless that bursary is devolved to constituency, you will find that some areas will be left out. Some children will be left out. And this is a tested model. Mr. Speaker, I would be calling upon the Minister of Education to improve on its governance structure, how to manage money, to improve on its accountability structure on capitation money. When the former CS for Treasury was handing over to CS Mbadi, he made a very interesting remark that between Treasury and Ministry of Education, they cannot account for more than 5 billion capitation money. That's a serious issue. That is where the rain starts beating us. Mr. Speaker, in my constituency, out of 13,000, about 13,000 secondary school students, 30% of them are not in NEMIS. In some schools in this country, one term you have 600 when they are giving you your capitation. The next term, they reduce it to 540. So the teachers still have the children. They wonder, where has the 60 gone? This is a governance issue, which we must address as we endeavor to make education free. I would be requesting my colleagues in this house, as we look at this, maybe this is the time for this house to have this discussion. That in a budget of 4 trillion, is it not the right time we reconfigured the way we do budget so that we budget for 1 billion per constituency? 1 billion per constituency, and then we reposit that money in the various ministries, in water, in energy. But I know my constituency has my 1 billion. When I want to do roads, all I need is to sit with the community, we do a plan, we take it to where it is. I request my colleagues, as we go into the new budget cycle, we should be talking about 1 billion for one constituency. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable, this is the Honorable Gideon Kimayo. The Honorable Gideon Kimayo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I join my colleagues who oppose this motion. It may be a noble idea that we amalgamate bursaries. But we amalgamate these bursaries, and who will be the person distributing them? Because in this country, resources are distributed in a skewed manner. Because if you look at our budget, one corner of the country receives large share of our resources against others. So we must sit down and say, as much as we want to put resources in a basket so that all children of this country can go to school, we must first of all come up with a structure on how this money will be distributed. Because if we give this money to the Ministry of Education, and that is the person who will distribute, whether the minister or whoever, we know this country, resources will follow those who come from certain corner. So that if I'm the Minister of Education, resources will go to my corner. What happens to the other parts of the country? Today, the model which CDF uses makes sure that every corner of this country, children can access bursaries. In my own constituency, KO South constituency, I am a product of day school. I went to a day school. And if bursaries were being distributed in a good manner, I would have gone to the provincial school which I had been called to. But because of lack of school fees, I went to a day school. Because bursaries were distributed in a skewed manner. When I was elected, Mr. Speaker, I have made sure that all day schools in my constituency is free, absolutely free. And now somebody wants to tell me that money that enables all children in KO South constituency to go to school free in day schools to be taken back to the Ministry of Education. That we will not allow. But if the money, before we take the money to the Ministry of Education, let's first of all have structures. And then we will respect Article 53 of the Constitution, which allows for every child to have the right of education in this country. If we allow this to happen, it will only benefit certain corners of the country. So, Mr. Speaker, until that time that we have the correct structures that will manage these funds, it is a no for me. So, as much as this motion allows that we bring all the money together and get free education, it will not be free because we know the person who will distribute will be skewed. Let's look at water in this country. Certain regions of the country receive a lot of money for water. Others don't have. Let's look at roads. Certain corners of this country receive a lot of money for roads. Others don't have. So now, the little that we have devolved is now being discussed that we take it back to the Ministry of Education. My colleague has talked about Jomo Kenyatta Foundation. There is the money which we have in our own CDF kitty. But if you look at CDF kitty, there is public participation. All of us go to the villages, and Mwananchi is the one who will pick who benefits from this. But let's look at Jomo Kenyatta Foundation money. Where is public participation? So now we want to use the same model to distribute money for bursaries. For me, it's a no. And it's a no. We will continue decentralizing funds. We should be discussing how to decentralize the funds back to mashinani. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Makali Mulu, because of rank, have you spoken to this?
Not yet.
Yeah, proceed.
Who says I've spoken? But this is a motion, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity so that I add my voice to this important debate in this House. But as I do that, Honorable Speaker, I think we need to have what we call a fact sheet. Honorable Speaker, we know in this country we have quite a number of bursary schemes. We have what we call the presidential bursary scheme. We have the MP's bursary. We have the county government bursary. We have NGO's bursary. And there are so many bursaries flying all over the country. And I think what this motion is trying to propose is that if we consolidated these bursaries into one basket, more likely we'll be able to give bursaries to all the needy students in the country. But Honorable Speaker, I think we need to do much more than just this motion in terms of getting the statistics right. I'm not sure whether anybody in this country has sat down and done a summation of all the bursaries we are discussing and found out how much do they total to. Against that, then you do a tabulation of how much money do we require to meet the needs of all the needy students in this country. Unless that is done, Honorable Speaker, we'll be debating on issues of theories, and we'll be having a gap in terms of what we call evidence-informed decision-making. So what we need, Honorable Speaker, is that we know there are challenges in terms of distribution of bursaries. But the ultimate goal of bursaries, Honorable Speaker, is to make sure that the needy students are able to access education. And I agree with the colleagues who have said, in this country, we are experiencing serious challenges when it comes to equitable distribution of resources. Could it be bursaries? Could it be school infrastructure? Could it be roads? The way we distribute our resources, Honorable Speaker, is winding. It is winding because while all Kenyans pay taxes, some areas seem to be getting an advantage in terms of resource allocations as opposed to the other parts of this country. And that's why I'm going to oppose this motion. The reason I'm opposing it is because, Honorable Speaker, unless a number of things change, it is going to be business as usual, where we are going to put these bursaries into one basket, and some areas of this country will never access bursaries, and needy students will never go to school. So what is my proposal? I can only support this motion, Honorable Speaker, if we are assured that there will be no payment of school fees in all the schools, so that all the students go to school and the government pays for their fees. In that case, I will have no problem, because I will be sure that my tuition or needy students will go to school and nobody will come knocking my door saying, Mheshimiwa, we have no school fees. But in a situation where we want to put in one basket, and then, Honorable Speaker, these honorable members will not be able to sleep in their houses, because every morning parents are flocking into their homes seeking for bursaries, I will say no. So it is time, Honorable Speaker, we address the issue of equitable distribution of resources before we discuss putting all the bursaries in one basket. And more so, Honorable Speaker, where we are saying we push these resources back to the Ministry of Education. Honorable Speaker, it's not a secret. We know our Minister of Education. At least now we have a new minister, maybe things will change. But if history is anything to go by, Honorable Speaker, we can't trust the Minister of Education in terms of resource allocation and distribution. Issues of equity have been wanting in that ministry. And unless we are sure of those issues, Honorable Speaker, I say no to this motion. So, I would be requesting my friend, Honorable Passaris, to convince me, and more so the House, that once we consolidate these bursaries, Honorable Speaker, to one basket, that all the needy students in this country will have access to bursaries without discrimination and without saying this region did not vote for us or this region voted for us. If you are assured of that, I'll be the first one to say yes to this motion. But for now, Honorable Speaker, I want to say I'm opposing it. And I would urge honorable members who care about these students in this country to oppose this motion, so that once we get the things right, we will approve it at the later date. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yeah, honorable members, we have barely 16 minutes to the end of this debate. I want to ask those members who are going to get a chance to speak to reduce, just make your point on this matter. I know I cannot reduce it at this stage, the speaking time, but just conscript so that as many as possible are able to speak in that time. The Honorable Rindikiri Mugambi will be followed by the Honorable Richard Yegon. Then the Deputy Majority Leader will be followed by the Honorable Karoli Omondi. In that order. Proceed.
I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a very emotive issue. Mr. Speaker, I outright say I oppose this motion, and I join my colleagues who have brought it very clear that this motion was not brought in with the correct evidence as to how we should do it. Mr. Speaker, I know, and I issue this statement, that this motion was brought in after the failures of the university funding. It was brought because of biasness that we have witnessed in disbursement of education funds. Mr. Speaker, I would say putting the bursaries in one basket will not solve the problem of education in this country. Why? Mr. Speaker, we have challenges in our curriculum. Mr. Speaker, even if we give bursary, when the curriculum is not very clear, we still not obeying the dictations of the Article 33. Mr. Speaker, we have the problem of funding of schools in this country. Even if we put money, bursary in one basket, we will not solve the problem of feeding of our children in this country. Mr. Speaker, there is a problem of infrastructure of education in this country. Mr. Speaker, you realize there are some schools which are more developed than other schools. There are schools which are given millions and millions of shillings in broad daylight, Mr. Speaker. Even if we put bursary in one basket, we will not solve the problem where the schools are poor infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, we have our kids from marginalized areas. We have kids from poor families, Mr. Speaker. Even if we put money in bursary in one basket, we will not buy a school uniform for these children. Mr. Speaker, we are having problems with the teachers in this country. There are schools with more teachers than others. There are schools with no teachers, Mr. Speaker. So our issue is more deeper than putting money in one basket to kill the element of bursary. I will say this, Mr. Speaker. Bursary intention was to fill the gap that was noticed at the rural areas, Mr. Speaker. Areas of marginalized, Mr. Speaker, where the schools were, parents were disadvantaged. I don't see putting money in one basket will really solve that problem. The reason why CDF is very successful is these honorable members are the ones who are very close to the families in the rural areas, Mr. Speaker. We have just come from a situation where we have a problem with the university funding, where poor families are being put in band 3 or 4, paying more money than students from very rich areas, Mr. Speaker. Putting money in one basket will not solve that problem. What we are saying as honorable members is this. Let's leave the CDF to manipulate to focus on those poor areas, poor families, poor successful students who we have created doctors. I'm so humbled. Border constituency, we have created doctors from bursaries. People who could not have an opportunity in this country to go up the education ladder. Mr. Speaker, we cannot kill CDF. We will not kill the bursary through CDF. If the failures in the other institutions, let them sort out their problem. CDF is working. The bursaries through national government CDF fund is working. This motion was not brought in good faith. This is what I call popularist motion. Coming the time when you have just graduated from GC, Gen C, coming from where we are having problem with university funding. No, this is not a motion that is, CDF is something that parents are going to resist in this country. So I pity the move of this motion because the parents are calling us and they are saying we should not kill bursaries through national CDF. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support that we oppose this motion in totality. Thank you.
The Honorable, it was the Honorable Yegon. Can you do 2 or 3 minutes so that we cover as many members as possible?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I would also like to weigh in this matter, which is very emotive, and I would like to say that, Mr. Speaker, we have been a very long time watch how the CDF has distributed the bursaries to the students and the pupils of this country. This motion from the onset, I want to say, maybe it had some good intention, but the way it has been grafted, I'm not going to support this motion. We need to discuss in depth and make sure that the monies which is going to go as bursaries should be consolidated and made sure that all the students in this country and the pupils go through free primary and secondary education and even the university education. And if that is going to go that way, and we are assured, this is what I'm going to support. I'm going to support that. And in any other things which we want to say, take everything to the Ministry of Education. We have seen what Ministry of Education has done. And there has been no leverage and distribution in an equitable manner where we find throughout the country, each and every region is getting the money required for all the students. We have students who are coming from the poor families, and as we said, as it is said, education is an equalizer to the rich and the poor. I want to say that we have children who are very needy, and if we make sure that all this is made free for the students and the pupils of this country, it is going to go a long way in alleviating the issues of challenges we are facing in our various constituencies. Mr. Speaker, I would like to say that the issues of the bursaries through the presidential secondary education bursaries, the Ministry of Education capitation, which has been going on, we don't know how this, we normally have also bursaries going through the counties, whereby they are not checked. You find the county governments giving out to the students, which the national government has already given out, and some others who are very needy are missing. So this double allocation of bursaries to students is very rampant at the moment, and something has to be done, and we need to address it in this House very well, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much for this, and I rise to oppose this motion.
Deputy Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I want to say this from the onset. I oppose this motion, and I call every member of this House to oppose this motion. This is one way of disenfranchising a whole nation and giving resources to certain regions that are politically correct. But the people in my constituency, the people in Msanganyiko, the people in, Tezo, the people, those areas that I and my team know about benefit because I am there as a member of parliament and I have a team that can reach every person. Honorable Speaker, today we make the mistake of taking this money to the Ministry of Education. We all know where this money will go. We all know where it will go. And we will not allow that, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as a House, we have empowered many families that would not have seen education because we are there. We are the representatives of the people. We know the needy families, and we go out there to solve a problem. Honorable Speaker, there are certain schools that will not be here today functioning if it was not for NGCDF bursary. But Honorable Speaker, the ministry has a lot of money for bursary. Where does that money go? Where does that money go? Today you actually want to take this money back to the ministry again. Honorable Speaker, that will not happen. And this House should not allow it to happen. And this motion is a defeatist motion which we must defeat in this House. And I just wish we had quorum now enough. We would take the vote so that we send a clear signal. We have no confidence and trust in the ministry to handle bursaries or any other money. And I want to ask them, Honorable Speaker, I was very surprised the other day when I went to the minister. I said, I want infrastructure money. And you know what they told me? They told me all the infrastructure money was divided and given to certain regions already, and therefore, I am a deputy majority leader here, but there was not even a shilling for me. For infrastructural development. And you see, a certain region, a constituency has 30 million for infrastructural development, but a big area, like, for example, Western, doesn't have any money just because they do not control the resources. Honorable Speaker, for us to be able to control resources in this house, in this country, this is where it must be done. The money, for example, for energy, for rural electrification, where did it go? Where did it go? But if it had come to this house and we divided 50 million per constituency, we would have put electricity in the whole of this country. But when we allow the mandarins in the ministry to do division of revenue and allocate resources, other regions will continue to remain behind. And we do not want to remain behind in education because the only equalizer, and that equalization can only happen in this house. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I oppose, and ask any other member in this house to oppose. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The MP for Suba South.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. First, let me congratulate your prediction that Trump would win. I'm not very happy, but you got it. So I owe you a drink. First, Mr. Speaker, I rise to oppose this motion for the simple reason that it actually invalidates our constitutional framework. We are supposed to be devolving government services and placing them where they are most proximate and closer to the people. And if you look at the various bursary schemes that we have in the Republic, the most functional one is the NGCDF. Now, it deals with very specific things compared to even the one for NGAF. NGAF is supposed to deal with affirmative action for women. That is the purpose of NGAF. Then the presidential one is supposed to deal with various other issues. These various bursaries don't deal with the same sector. If you look at them, they deal with different segments of the society. So there's no point, there's really no duplication if they're implemented properly. The one that is an anomaly is the county government bursary schemes. Education is not devolved. Education is not devolved. The only thing that is devolved is ECD, and there's no bursary scheme for ECD. So it is wrong for county governments to be purporting to be offering education bursaries. On what basis? What's the constitutional basis for having a county bursary scheme when education itself is not devolved? It is not part of the functions of the county governments. So what we should be really figuring what to do with are the illegal county bursary schemes. That's what we should take out. But otherwise, these other ones are very specific. And if you go to other countries that offer free education, like Canada, even China, which has been mentioned, there are still bursary schemes. Bursary schemes are not synonymous with basic free education. They are different. So I think this motion is misplaced, and we should respect what our Constitution requires, that services are given closer to the people, and people are empowered to make their own decisions at the most local level, which is in the village level. With those few remarks, I leave the minutes to other members, and I oppose. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Kawanjiku in 2 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise also, I would also want my voice to be heard, and I rise to oppose this motion, Mr. Speaker, because there is no way we can allow the Ministry of Education or to amalgate the what you call the bursaries and make sure, as long as I'll make sure that the bursaries is allocated to the people that it's supposed to be, Mr. Speaker. I rise to oppose it, and Mr. Speaker, it's good to also confirm that bursary is one of the, allocation budgets, what we call resources that have been able to be devolved to 290 constituencies, Mr. Speaker. You may realize some of us, we have been able to do a lot, especially to making sure that, especially our high school students, are able to receive resources, are able to receive school fees because of the bursary allocation, Mr. Speaker. Some of the students who are not able to go to boarding schools, who are not able to go to join, the schools of their choice, Mr. Speaker, they normally come to day schools whereby we are able to allocate resources to make sure that they are able also to get an opportunity to educate themselves and also get an opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to advance their life, Mr. Speaker. If there is in any way a way that we can be able to make sure that we devolve these funds, make sure that we allocate every bursary equally to every student in this Republic of Kenya, then I'll be supporting it, Mr. Speaker. Make sure we come up with the CDF board, make sure that we allocate this money, and make sure that every student within the Republic of Kenya get an equal amount of bursary, Mr. Speaker. But as far as is concerned, giving it back to the ministry or giving it back to a few people to allocate those resources, majority of our students will not be able to get these funds, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I rise to oppose, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Moses Njendi. In 2 minutes, I think we just have 2 minutes to close debate.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I arise to oppose this motion. Mr. Speaker, a region like Western Kenya, before decentralization of funds, we used to suffer development a lot. Mr. Speaker, we've seen development in Western Kenya arising from decentralized funds through CDF. We have experienced maendeleo arising from county governments, now Western receiving these funds. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that, or to report to this House that previously when these bursaries were the ministry, some of our sons, bright ones who wanted to study abroad, would change their names to Kinyanjui, Kariuki, etc., etc. And that's why when you come to western part of Kenya, like for example, my constituents, you'll find those names to change their names so as to receive a scholarship. Mr. Speaker, we are in the process of decentralizing funds, and we should not revert now to centralizing as the move of this motion is proposing. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, because of time, I want to oppose this motion strongly.
The MP for Igembe North, the Honorable Taitum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. And from the very outset, I want to oppose this motion because I believe firmly that this motion was founded in malice rather than fact. Mr. Speaker, there are no computation of what is required to roll out free basic education in this country. This country education sector has so many problems that have not been ironed. And to bring more problems to the sector, I believe it is malicious. Mr. Speaker, county governments do not have bursary fund. They have coined names like enhancement fund, retention fund, to make sure that they subsidize what is being given by CDF, which is anchored in law in terms of giving bursaries. Mr. Speaker, even GAF, and what is given in county government, they can refuse. If you tell them now to channel, which money are they going to channel to the ministry, and they have no kitty? Their mandate is only to fund and manage ECD centers and the village polytechnics. So they have no role. Education is a national function. So when you talk about money that is founded in county government, I believe this is a misplaced fact because there's no money that is there. The new funding model in the universities is giving this government headache, the SHA and other issues that have been brought that need to be ironed out. So, Mr. Speaker, I believe that this motion should not see the light of the day and it should die because it was not a motion that is geared to help this country, but to put the education sector into a more deep hole than it is today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Wamboka in 1 minute, to be followed by Honorable Kakai Bisau in 1 minute.
Honorable Speaker, I must oppose this motion because it's mischievous. It is mischievous and it must be killed. Mr. Speaker, so that we note, Ministry of Education have several funds. One for infrastructure, another one for food program, another one for scholarships, another one for bursaries. Mr. Speaker, I can tell you these monies only go to 1 or 2 regions in this country. Mr. Speaker, we cannot again add money to the Ministry of Education. We have a PS called what is his name? Belio Kipsang, who does not listen to anyone. That man imagines that he is Kenya and Kenya is Belio Kipsang. We cannot add Kipsang any single money. In fact, we need to think of how to get these monies out of education, the monies that is already controlling, Mr. Speaker. We cannot, Mr. Speaker, go that direction. You imagine, Mr. Speaker, in this country, there are regions that need more resources. There are regions whose poverty index is very high. But when it comes to resources, Mr. Speaker, you will realize that the Turkanas don't get this money. You will realize that the Kambas who need water, they will not get money for water. You will realize that deputy majority, who needs money for electricity, he does not get. But these monies go to two or three regions, Mr. Speaker. This motion is mischievous. We must kill it. CBC is not working. Education, university funding model is not working. We cannot allow, we must kill it.
Honorable Kakai Bisau, understanding order number 1 for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, on the onset, I oppose this motion. We should not start doing now reverse logistics when we need more funding on the ground. If you look at even the bursaries that have been put in the counties, they are not reaching. So what we would like to do as the House, we should think of devolving, like, let's say, $1 billion, if not more, for every constituency, so that we can ensure that every kid in this republic goes to school. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Can the mover now reply? The mover has informed the House that she is out of the country on parliamentary duties. So the mover will reply the next time it will be scheduled for debate. Honorable members, the interest is appreciated, but once the time allocated for a motion comes to an end, there is nothing more the Speaker can do. We have the next motion, honorable members, the motion order number 9. Could I be confirmed to how many are interested to contribute to that particular motion, so that I make some decision? Order number 9 is the motion for establishment of a science museum. I want to make a decision whether I reorganize the order paper so that we go into the motion under order number 10, which is Committee of the Whole House on the Kenya Drugs Authority Bill, which has been pending for very long. How many members are keen to speak to motion number 9? Yeah, that means we have only 2 speaking. Only 2 are interested to speak to the motion under order number 9. Yes, Minority Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I would want the members of the House to benefit from the experience of senior people like us. I've seen members very keen on the previous motion, and some of them, as soon as the motion, they didn't get a time, they've already left. And we are discussing science.
Yeah.
You don't understand how the link is. You can actually raise the issues you wanted to raise in the previous one, in this one. But you are running away. You must learn. Sometimes it's good to give free education in the House. Thank you, Speaker.
Yeah. I'm making this consideration, honorable members, because the motion under order number 10 is a bill which went for winnowing. And so the current context in terms of the amendments by the departmental committee are essentially agreed. And you are thinking it should move. I want to know how many are interested on number 9 so that I make a determination on whether to alter the order paper or to allow, if it will take less than 30 minutes, then the mover replies, we could allow it to be concluded. Yes, so then call the next order.
Order number 9, motion, establishment of a science museum, resumption of debate.
Yes, and we have more minutes in this one, over 1 hour, 29 minutes. But because we want to go into order number 10 first, honorable members try to be conscripted and specific so that the mover can reply as fast as possible. The Honorable Indikiri Mugambi, you have your go.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. This country requires a lot of support on research in various activities that we are doing. Mr. Speaker, this country is known as a country of more science-based innovations. Mr. Speaker, we are known as a country in terms of information systems. Mr. Speaker, there are so many researches that have been done to that effect, and that's why Kenya is recognized as a center of ICT in Africa. Mr. Speaker, this country has gone through a lot of innovations and activities on telecommunication sector. Mr. Speaker, I remember when I was working with Kenya Post and Telecommunications, we established the Gilgil Telecommunication Manufacturing Center. Mr. Speaker, we were doing the old telephonies, we are doing a lot of research on cables, we are doing research on transmissions. Mr. Speaker, in terms of medical research, KEMLI is a renewed institution. Mr. Speaker, there are so many things that need to be given a lot of attention. Mr. Speaker, we need a reference museum where all the scientific issues pertaining to our country are based, Mr. Speaker. This museum will not only be an exhibition, it will also go to facilitating research going forward. Mr. Speaker, this museum will show the people who have spent a lot of their time in doing research. Mr. Speaker, this museum will be a learning center for the future generation. Mr. Speaker, it is prudent, therefore, that we put a lot of effort and we put resources, Mr. Speaker, in this museum. I want to thank the mover of this motion because, Mr. Speaker, there are so many things that we lose on the way. And I think we should not lose anything related to science in this country. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support.
The MP for North Imenti, the Honorable Rahim Daoud.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first let me congratulate the mover of this motion, Honorable KJ. It's a very timely motion in the sense that we need to encourage our people to do the STEM subjects, that is science, tech, and the other subjects, because we are lacking in the science subjects, and the museum will assist in propagating new technologies, because there are many scientists within Kenya, Mr. Speaker. We can be the Silicon Valley of Africa, because from the museum we can exhibit the various local innovations in the scientific world. So, Mr. Speaker, when we establish this museum, we should even go further and establish a science institute where we bring up the young innovators who will be able to innovate new things and actualize the dream. The Konza Institute should be there so that we can have a Silicon Valley of Africa from Kenya. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate the mover and I support. Thank you.
Requested those who want to speak to this one to go to interventions. The Honorable Adan Haji is interested in this one. The Honorable Joseph Makilap, the Honorable Rueda Obo, the Honorable Beatrice Elachi wants to speak to this one. Please do. Yeah, so Yeah, I'm seeing only 3. And let us make the point so that the mover can reply very quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And once again, let me appreciate Honorable KJ for bringing this. Mr. Speaker, you realize modern science is what we are now, we've just been speaking, what WIP has said. We've left a motion on education, on bursary. We've left a motion where I talked about teachers who right now we even lack teachers of JSS of science. Yet we are saying CBC is more science than even arts. And that indeed, when we talk of modern science, of a museum, we are talking about science centers, where young people right now in the village or in our constituencies, we have young people who are trying to do anything to bring up. The other day I saw a young man trying to build a caterpillar, and it was moving. And that is science. And we don't have a place where we can now bring them to demonstrate what they have. Kipepeo is there. Every time we have children going there, and it is science, it is butterfly, yes, but beyond that, that we want to see our children getting into this subject of science, understanding that physics and chemistry in the world today, if we are talking about technology, if we are talking about ICT, if we are talking about AI, all this is science where we need science museums in this country to help indeed our children. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, as I support, all I want to say is that we must have discovery centers to help these young people. And we must hold JSS for these children to turn around and become more science people, students, than what we've had before. With those few remarks, I beg to support.
Honorable Kawanjiku.
Thank you, Chair. I rise to support and also congratulate my brother, Honorable KJ, for coming up with this motion. For indeed, we really need to start thinking about the future. And I have seen it even in the UAE country, Mr. Speaker, where they are coming with the Museum of the Future. They start thinking ahead in terms of what and how our country, in terms of technology, will look like. And you allocate a certain resources for people to only think and imagine how the future will look like. But sometimes as a third world country, we find ourselves in a situation whereby we are challenged by the technology when it is already too late, and when the other countries have already accommodated and aligned themselves with the technology and moving forward. We have the issue of cryptocurrency, Mr. Speaker. We have the issue of AI. But as a government and as a state, what are we doing to make sure that we incorporate the minds and the innovations that are coming along with this type of innovations, Mr. Speaker? We realize that we are really lagging behind. We must look for a way to even motivate our young people, challenge them in terms of coming up with technologies, with innovations, and maybe in a way or the other to harness that kind of thinking and that kind of mindset and start preparing them to take the future ahead of them, Mr. Speaker. And I support, because we must allocate resources to things that matters in this country, Mr. Speaker. Coming up with a museum in every county, it's not a hard thing to us. I may even propose, if it is so difficult, then let's come with 1 or 2 within our regions and within our republic, Mr. Speaker, by a way of trying to encourage young people to come up with innovations. Even go ahead and set a kitty, Mr. Speaker, whereby we'll be supporting some of the students who are doing very well in terms of innovations, Mr. Speaker. We have seen in our media young people coming up with technologies, but they end up going nowhere because of lack of, capital or lack of funding to ensure that they, multiply, the innovations and the things that they have come up with, Mr. Speaker. These ones must be encouraged. If we really matter, if we really want to focus on this nation, if we really want to, put resources to things that matters, this is one of the issues that matters, Mr. Speaker. And even the motion that was ahead in terms of talking about bursaries and combining all the bursaries, Mr. Speaker, we must be able to allocate resources to things that will bring results towards the end of the next 5 years or 10 years. If you look at Kibaki, Mr. Speaker, and we were talking with other honorable members, he came up with what we call Vision 2030 blueprint. Some of the things that are happening in this republic is as a result of Vision 2030. It's as a result people sat down, thought through about the resources and where they're going to put the resources, how they want this country to look like in the next 20, 30 years. And shockingly, Mr. Speaker, we have been able to achieve quite a number of those issues. I think now it is about 3 or 4 years remaining for the Vision 2030 to come to a close, Mr. Speaker. We must also start thinking, moving forward, what is our vision for the next 50 years? What do we want to do as a government, as a country in the next 50 years, Mr. Speaker? If the United Arab Emirates, they are coming with a Museum of the Future because they want to start thinking around and allocating resources towards that. But we cannot continue thinking through the orthodox means and allocating resources the conventional way, Mr. Speaker, and we fail to focus on investing on the future of our republic, Mr. Speaker. Even if it's 1% of the resources, let us allocate that 1% to focus on planning our country for the next 50 years, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I rise to support this motion.
The MP for Igembe Central, the Honorable Daniel Carito.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I want to say from onset that I stand to support this motion because it's a very relevant one. And, Mr. Speaker, this country, we have very bright brains. We have boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen from this country who can create a lot given an opportunity. Mostly what they lack is these infrastructures to do great things. And that's why I support this motion. And I say, as a government and as a country, we need to think of the future and establish these museums so that our young people can do great things in technology. Mr. Speaker, research is the way to go. And modern science is the way to go as at now. And without these museums, we will just be seeing and talking them on papers. For example, Mr. Speaker, in my area, we have been struggling to establish a mineral research center, and funds were set aside. If this center is working right now, we could have known a lot on how to assist our farmers and our traders in improving on their cash crop. We need to establish, because in most cases, we have countries that are coming up and doing great in innovations because their states have been assisting them, and we need to follow suit so that our country can move forward in developing. Because right now, everything is technology. And if we don't put structures in place to assist in building these technologies, we will not be at par with the rest of the world. That's why I support this motion, and I really encourage our country, our government to fall and establish these museums, science museums, so that our country can grow forward and compete with the rest of the world. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That is Honorable Dorcas. Honorable Dorothy Kiara.
Thank you.
Honorable Dorothy Kiara, use the shortest time possible. You will be followed by Honorable Jematia. Then I'll call the mover to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I first and foremost want to commend Honorable Kiarie for bringing this very, very important motion, establishment of a science museum. Honorable Speaker, many a times we have contended with being called the third world. And Honorable Speaker, I am very excited that now we have started thinking innovation. Honorable Speaker, we have countries which are far much developed, countries like Japan. And they are so developed because they spurred innovation, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I want to challenge our government and say, this is the high time that we must establish and have a ministry of science and innovation, so that, Honorable Speaker, our boys and girls who are brilliant, boys and girls who are very key in innovation, can be placed somewhere and be encouraged and motivated with a budget within the ministry that can help in their growth. Honorable Speaker, as we move with the new education competence-based curriculum, it is giving our students pathways. When they reach grade 9, Honorable Speaker, they will divert to different pathways where they will showcase their talents. And Honorable Speaker, we cannot do this theoretically. We can only be able to achieve what we want to achieve as a country in both technology, in both innovation, in both the way we want our economy to grow, Honorable Speaker, if we invest in this science museum. Honorable Speaker, I strongly support this and say, Honorable Speaker, we don't leave this as a motion. Let us move ahead and push the government, Honorable Speaker, to establish a ministry of science and innovation, so that, Honorable Speaker, we can be able to stop every time contending with being called third world. We move towards where those developed worlds stay. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I strongly support this motion.
The MP for Baringo County, Honorable Jematia.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I also want to take this opportunity to support this motion by my chairman, Honorable John Kiarie. And from the onset, Mr. Speaker, I also sit in this, he is my chair in the communication, innovation, information.
Did you say?
Is my
did you say is your chair?
He's my
and
chairman.
then you say you sit on him.
Okay.
It's your chairperson. Eh?
He's my chairperson in the committee, Mr. Speaker. And I want to say, ICT or technology of today is a revolution that is in our times. And I must say, this is the only time and in the world that technology is being experienced. And it is here and forever. And that one means that this science technology is going to be a big factor. And I want to say, if we are going to create this, and through the Vision 2030, which we are actually putting all our resources in the country today, and to help the people of Kenya, specifically us as East Africans, we can see that Kenya has taken a very positive stride in making sure that technology is a factor, and more so ICT creation in our country. We have done a lot, especially in backbone and creating networks all over the country. And this is one of the reasons, and I want to support this motion by making sure that Science Museum is given an opportunity and given resources as part of the growth. And as you look at it, Mr. Speaker, today, artificial intelligence is the order of the day. And we cannot be left behind as a country. And using this museum, Science Museum, I want to say it's going to give us a very positive results going forward as a country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Kibagendi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this motion. Science museums that are also known as science centers or discovery centers have made learning exciting in developed countries. It is important that we invest in these, in setting up these centers, these discovery centers that will make science learning accessible, and this will definitely provide the educational facilities that we may need for emerging generations to learn more effectively methods of learning in matters science, tech, and engineering. And hence, it is the reason why I rise to support my brother KJ for coming up with this motion that will definitely revolutionize the way future generations will learn. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Mboko Milemba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I was quite disappointed recently when exams began. And one of the things that is being really taken care of, using both guns and policemen and everybody supervising, is the phone. And you know, for the longest time, I did not have a chance to speak on this for other reasons or another. But when I see this motion raised by KJ, I realize that there's hope in us legislating well so that we can have a laboratory that can store technology. When you look at the policemen around examination centers guarding anybody who may appear with a phone, and therefore a phone seems to be a very sensitive gadget, which if it's around an examination center, it can be used for stealing or accessing exams. I just pity ourselves and where we are in terms of technology and what we are storing. Because for me, a phone should have been an enabler. You remember, you are not, Honorable Speaker, very close to me in terms of the same time being in school, Honorable Speaker, with all respect. But there's a time when a log book was not allowed in an examination room. And do you know that the FX was it FX82 calculator could not end an examination? If you are found with a calculator in an examination room, it would be advertised all over this country that those boys stole exams because they had a calculator. Now, a calculator is a requirement for you to sit for an exam. How I wish these are the businesses we should deal with so that our phone is an enabler. I want to see that day when we shall be told that come to school, come to an exam room and have the following things: a ruler, a calculator, a phone, and other things. That's when technology will be developed. Thank you so much.
The Honorable Owen Bayer, the Deputy Majority Leader, will be followed by the Minority Whip. Then the mover will reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the future is science. The future of this world is science. And it is science that has made nations great. And it is deliberate investment in science, in schools, in universities, and in the national capital. That is where we move a country. Because everything that we look at the great innovation coming from Kenya, M-Pesa, and how it has transformed everything in this country. Today, if you want food, Safaricom, M-Pesa. If you want medical services, whatever you want now is based on science. All transactions we do, science. So science is the future. And a country that aspires to be a great nation must invest in science. A great country, nation like the United States, is great because they started investing in science. You know, okay, I'll forgive you for today. So, Honorable Speaker, if we must be a great nation, then we must invest deliberately in science. What Mwai Kibaki had in his mind when the Konza City was started, he thought that, and if you look at Vision 2030, there's great space for science. But then why should we have a science museum? The world over, if you look at great places, if you go to New York, you find a science museum. If you go to New Delhi, you'll find a science museum. If you go to London, you'll find a science museum. You'll find science museums. But why do we have science museums? So that people can see how science has progressed and where it is going. And that is what is critical. How do our young people, imaginations and innovators who want to be scientists, how do they know where science is going? Now, when we have science museums, the way these young people come to this parliament, and when they see what is in this parliament, and they experience what is in this parliament, they go out there and aspire to be members of parliament. Same way, if we take our young people to those science museums, they will want to be scientists, and therefore we grow the science corpus in them. Honorable Speaker, this is very timely, that as we look at CBC, which has areas of science and areas of arts, then how do we therefore enhance science, even for the young people in the remotest village in Uyombo, in my constituency, should be able to come to Nairobi or Mombasa to a science museum, look at the development in science that have been preserved there and say, I also want to be a scientist. These young people study science, but they do not know where it has come from. If you look at, if you go to New York, you will see when these guys, the energy, the electricity, there's a museum on this guy who started the electricity. And every New Yorker will go to that museum to see how electricity started. And therefore, they come out and develop new energy, including the electrical car that is very popular. Because they have gone there, they have seen. And that's why countries are developing rapidly in science, because they have invested in preserving science and having science museums and allowing their people to see what science is. So, Honorable Speaker, I would like to see this country go science, because that is where the future is. Of course, those of you who are in arts, you know, the lawyers here, Emilio Diambo, you, other people do not understand this language. Scientists like I and a few others understand that investment in science is investing in the future. These guys who just talk in courts and talk and think they can eat words, you know, have very little to, they are consumers of money, they are not makers of wealth. We want to create wealth. And the only way we can create wealth in this country is through science. Look at the great things science has done in agriculture. Agriculture has been transformed by science today. And that's why there's better production. Manufacturing is science. We want to go that way. You know, ICT is science. That's where we want to go to. So, Honorable Speaker, I would like to see 3/4 of this country go science. And we will get leaps and bounds in development. So, Honorable Speaker, as much as many young people want to become lawyers and people who can talk, poets and people like that, yes, they are there to entertain and give life, meaning to life. But we need to be producers, and we can only be producers through science, engineers, doctors, mechanics, all those kind of people, and we will have a secure country, a better future. I support this. And I want to see the next museum, science museum, in the next 1 year in Nairobi or in my village. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Nbaya, I will engage you as a social scientist after this. I know you're a Fulbright, scholar, but you will get to know that lawyers, in fact, the best lawyer we have, Lord Denning, was a mathematician. And yours truly here is a very good scientist. Yeah, the Honorable Emilio Diambo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's indeed actually divine that I've got an opportunity to speak after my brother, who is alleging that science is better than the art. I just want to indicate, when I was actually in Form 2, when we were choosing subjects, I was one of the best science students. And when I was actually, the classes were divided and we had to be forced to go either art or science. And I refused to do sciences. And I was suspended for 2 weeks for refusing to do sciences. And I went back to school. And because I'm glad I've always been a bad girl, even despite that suspension, I still refused. And the way I refused was to sit an exam. And knowing all the answers, I answered negatively and got 0%. And I was chased out of the science class, not because I was not smart, but because I knew at that point where I am headed, because I knew even though I made a very good scientist, I make an excellent artist. And Mr. Speaker, I have come to realize that our brothers who are in sciences will work on the science issues, but unless you have brains like us in the arts who can deal with protecting your sciences, then you'll not go far with your science. And that is why in my law class, I did my thesis for its intellectual property rights on plant genetic resources, which is part of the basis of what we are discussing here. And that is why I'd actually requested that I be given a chance to talk about the Science Museum, which is under Article 11.2b of the Constitution, that provides that the government shall recognize the role of science and indigenous technologies. Mr. Speaker, the essence of my thesis was that in Africa, we have indigenous knowledge, indigenous technology, indigenous plants that are beneficial, but other communities come and take them, patent them, and sell them back to us. I've given an example of Mwarubaine. I've given an example of Endor, the Ethiopian plant in the past in this house, that has actually helped to unclog the system in the US. Of course, it is sad that I'm mentioning US at a point when Kamala Harris has lost. But nonetheless, I don't care whether she's lost or not. I am consistent in supporting women publicly. And so the loss of Kamala Harris is my loss. Mr. Speaker, I just want to say that back to my science issue, I just want to indicate that...
Honorable Millie Odhiambo, the last time I checked, Democrats can't define a woman.
Can't do what?
Can't define a woman.
Define?
A woman.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in our quarters where we are, you have always declared you are Republican. But I want to actually say that this is one of the American elections where I've been torn. On the one hand, I'm not a Trump supporter because he doesn't support the women's agenda, and I'm a very ardent supporter of women. But on the other hand, the reason why I've been torn is because of the role the Americans played in the last elections. So what goes back comes back. Bites you the way it bit us. So let them live with that. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, but I'm still mourning the loss of Kamala Harris. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, let America also learn to keep off elections of other places and other areas. So it was sad, I would have really, but they've helped me because my pain is minimized somehow. Mr. Speaker, I do support my brother in this science museum because our younger people will be able to learn a lot of things that our ancestors used, our grandfathers used, our fathers used, that we have considered archaic because of new and emerging technologies. Yet these things are the ones that actually been the base for emerging technologies. So I really do thank my brother for this noble idea, and I hope that we do put resources into this, but also that it would be an example that we shouldn't only, because here is talking about technologies, it's just that I've come in a bit late, but I'd have wanted to put not just technology, but indigenous knowledge as well. Because, Mr. Speaker, you discover that there's a lot of indigenous knowledge. For instance, as I've indicated, of beneficial properties of plant genetic resources. My grandfather knew almost every cure for snake bites. But now I ask everybody at home, nobody knows, because it was not stored. There was no way of storing that kind of system. So now if somebody is bitten, because in our shags, in our rural home, there are many, many snakes, yeah? Even though now because of increased settlement, they've gone down. And because of that, they observed the way snakes, when they fight, that they can actually use some plants, and he became an expert. But who knows about that anyway? No, nobody. There are medicines for curing cancer. But yet we are having people struggling with cancer when we have herbal medicine. So for me, one of the other things that you should have actually done, Honorable Member, maybe now because you are bringing it as a motion, when you bring a bill, the bill is there. Oh, thank you. Then in the bill, please don't just provide for technology, provide for knowledge as well. Otherwise, this is an excellent idea, and I do support. Thank you.
I've seen new interest from Honorable Edith Nyenze. Could she speak before the mover replies? She will be followed by the Honorable Basil. I thought we agreed we should be winding up this quickly. We want to go to the committee of the whole House. Proceed, Honorable Edith Nyenze.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate John Kiarie for bringing up this motion on creating science museums. These museums actually will collect and display objects having scientific interests, and this will stimulate curiosity and develop inquiry minds, which will expose our children and adults to positive experiences. And actually, this will help people to cope with the rapidly changing technological environment and empower them by improving their life skills. Mr. Speaker, sir, last month, I had the opportunity of traveling to India with the CEO of innovations in the social social department, social protection department, and he had actually assembled 14 vice chancellors, and I also visited with them a university in Hyderabad in Telangana in India. And actually, we visited this university, and what this university does is that it assembles university students after their O-levels. They collect the best brains in India, and they are actually assembled in this university. They don't pay any school fees. They are not taught. They are only taught a few units on innovation, and they are left on their own to come up with different projects, different innovations. And from those innovations, they collect them and come up with the best, and these ones are actually implemented in the country. These projects, these ideas are actually also supported worldwide. The best ones are supported. For example, I even saw a remote controlled vehicle where I also traveled in, and this one is the students who have come up with it. So such a museum would actually be very good to collect information. It will be a very good science museum, which can also source for funding. It can also come up, come up with the implementation of such projects, which would encourage our students. Because actually in Kenya, we also have very innovative young people, very innovative youth. So it's the right time, it's the high time. We tapped these innovations, we encouraged them, we sponsored them, and such a museum would actually be a center where even our young people can learn, and all people can learn about innovation, and they continue having big brains to even improve the economy in our country. We've always talked about high rate of unemployment, and these innovations can actually help in meeting the needs of employment in our country. So with that, I support the motion. Thank you.
Honorable Robert Basil, the MP for...
Yata MP. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Of course, you know I was supporting Kamala, and I know you are supporting Trump, so congratulations for that. From onset, I support this motion coming from my brother, KJ, protecting me, Mr. Speaker, from Honorable... Kaluma was for Trump, and that's why today is a big day for him. Yeah, so from onset, I support my brother KJ. Basically, we are in the technology world. And if you look at countries like Japan, they have been able to industrialize because of technology. If you look at countries like Israel, they export technology. That is what we refer as exponential age. And when I hear of science, myself, I love science. And a science museum is actually what is going to align us in the technology and innovation path and make us a progressive nation from a technology front. So in principle, Science Museum should be embraced. And the KNJ did the right thing to bring this motion. So, Mr. Speaker, I would tell you that with the technology, our young people who are not very much preoccupied will be put into a busy programs where they'll have a chance to discover, explore, and test ideas. So it is the best way, Mr. Speaker, to make our youth get to use technology and science and actually mitigate the level of idleness and drug abuse, which we have witnessed for the last couple of years, simply because most of our young people today, with the level of education we are acquiring, you find they cannot be able to employ themselves. So with having Science Museum deployed in many parts of this country, you'll find that the youth will be able to test ideas and be able to become more employable in the years to come. So with those few remarks, I urge members to support this motion so that at least we can move to crafting a bill to make Science Museum a reality in this country. So thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I submit.
The MP for Kajiado East, the Honorable Kakuta Memai.
Kajiado East. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support this motion by my good friend and chairperson of the Innovation, Communication and Information Committee, KJ. This is a wonderful idea to start a science museum in Kenya. This will give our young people a chance to, of course, explore the field of science, natural sciences, and able to exhibit their creation, their innovations, and we will also be able to showcase the innovations that has taken place in different parts of the world, and perhaps that will also become an inspiration and encouragement for our young people to also become innovative and creative. So I think this is a very important museum, and I hope that it will get the support that it needs to be established, and perhaps also get enough funding to be funded so that it will not just become a museum in paper, but it will actually be actualized. Because I've also seen in the existing museum, like the National Museum, so many times I do visit that museum because I really have a great appreciation for the arts, but many times you find it underfunded and not being able to achieve what was intended to achieve. So I hope that this museum, Science Museum, will be actualized and will give our people a chance to be able to see and bring innovation for generations to come. So I stand to support this motion by my good friend KJ, and I hope, of course, the bill will be also be supported and be detailed enough to help us bring a wonderful science museum in Kenya and inspire innovation, creation, and innovation for our young people. Thank you, and I support.
The Honorable Beatrice Kemei.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice to this very important motion by the chairman and my good friend, KJ, concerning the establishment of a science museum in this country. Honorable Speaker, I appreciate the fact that in the Constitution, Article 11(2)(p), it provides that the government shall recognize the role of science and indigenous technologies. However, this has not been done from 2010 to date. And that is why I appreciate the MP for bringing it forth today, that a science museum be established. And noting this, Honorable Speaker, that it will, when it is established, the country will greatly be impacted economically. Science plays a very key and important role in this country. Noting that even in school, the way Honorable Millie spoke. When I was also in high school, it tells you where we belong. There was the science part and the arts. And very few students were in the science department or in the science section, but very many were in the arts. But at the moment, we have all the students doing science. But after that, what happens? Where do we take them? It is like even those who have talents that are science-oriented, they have nowhere to take to. So with this science museum, I am sure they will be able even to take their talents to the next level. We will be able to tap what they have. They will be very innovative. We have many youths who in their knowledge in school and even the talents they have, they are able to do something that is science-oriented, but they have nowhere else to practice the same and even to showcase what they have. So I really want to thank the Honorable John Kiarie for bringing it forth. And I believe once this is established, we'll be more industrialized and knowing that most of our youth at the moment have no jobs. So when we become industrialized, definitely most of our youth will be employed, not in the mainstream, but they will be even self-employed. So science is important. The museum is very, very important for us, and therefore I support. But I feel it should not just be a motion, it should go further. I believe John Kiarie will take it further to make it as a bill or craft it into a bill, and it will be very, very important for this. Once more, Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me the opportunity, and I stand to support. Thank you.
Lastly, the majority whip in the shortest time possible. Mover, prepare to reply.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to air my views in support of the motion as proposed by the Honorable KJ. Honorable Speaker, there is a misconception, and a very bad misconception, that innovation is a preserve for the people from the West. And that any good innovation, sometimes by our own sons and daughters in this country, is sometimes doubted. That you would even ask, if it's a phone, for instance, who made this phone? If you hear that it was assembled from some place, maybe in Kitengela or Kisii, then you'll have a second thought, even of purchasing it. This is a wrong misconception, Honorable Speaker. This is a misconception, Honorable Speaker. It's a wrong perception. It's a wrong narrative. It is displaying that we actually wait to consume what others innovate, Honorable Speaker. But, Honorable Speaker, this motion, if Honorable KJ can escalate it even further, so that we can appreciate our own innovation, Honorable Speaker. It is actually in this country that M-Pesa, for example, was actually innovated. We do not have such repository kept in some place for other learners or the generations to come to know how even Safaricom was innovated. People always think that, those people who are supposed to think are different and not them. And that is why we are creating, or rather growing, a very lazy generation, Honorable Speaker. Looking at the generation that we have, Honorable Speaker, if these things are not so made obvious by creating such platforms like the Science Museum, people will always think that such kind of creativity is only meant for some place or some people or some very prestigious universities or some places where they only imagine or see in movies, Honorable Speaker. So this is a clear indication, Honorable Speaker, that the leadership of this country, of course, even by looking at the contributions by the honorable members, Honorable Speaker, if we are able to push through this, even as we push through the ITs, pushing through having ICTs in every ward, in every village, Honorable Speaker, these science museums will go a long way in opening the mindset of our young people, Honorable Speaker. Because they say, if you do not travel so much and you live in the village, you'll actually think that the githeri that is made by your mother is the sweetest in the world. You do not know that there are people who actually know how to make that githeri more. In fact, I even dare say, Honorable Speaker, that you will be sick of a disease I call villagitis. Because you are born in the village, You marry around your village, you get sick, you go to your village, you die, you are buried in your village. Every person that attends your burial is from your village. These science museums will bring the world closer to you. You will know that things are made. Honorable Speaker, I'll give a very small story. When I first went to my constituent, Honorable Speaker, to seek for votes, and I've met some young people, because I was driving some car with the air suspension that would go low when it's not moving and then go high when it's moving. And I saw some young 3-4 young men in their 30s, mid-30s, standing somewhere and saying, this guy is black. You can't even see him inside. This is a snake. This guy does not know. This is a snake. Where does he even get his money from? This is an Illuminati guy. Because of villagitis. A person thinking that, these things are a preserve of some people and not in that village. And that is why this motion, Honorable Speaker, Honorable KJ needs to be challenged to escalate it even further so that we are able to support the next generations. For that reason, Honorable Speaker, I beg to support, but with one right, Honorable Speaker, I was surprised by the comments that were made by the Honorable Millie Odhiambo about the U.S. elections, Honorable Speaker. I have known Honorable Millie as a well-experienced politician, but I didn't know that with her years of experience, she couldn't predict and know clearly that her candidate would lose, because it was in black and white. It was outright. I mean, I want to inform her. Let me inform her, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is Honorable Osoro, in order to impute improper motive on me by inferring that I only follow candidates who are likely to win, when in fact I am a woman of principle and I follow people based on my conviction and on my principle. And I follow Kamala Harris, one, because her name sounds Luya, but secondly, because she's a woman. And I support women wherever they are found, especially if she does not have any stain. I know people have been imputing some of the things that the current president has done on her, but she's a woman. I support her whether she wins or she fails. I am a woman, strength of a woman, whether we win or lose, women.
I thought Honorable Osoro was saying he didn't quite understand the policies of of Kamala, Vice President Kamala Harris, whom you are supporting. Not that she's a woman. Anyway, Honorable Osoro, proceed.
Let me conclude, Honorable Speaker, and say that the Honorable Kamala and many other women should, we keep encouraging them not to use only the gender card in selling their policies. There are so many things you can tell the public other than saying, I'm a woman, now elect me. And that is why with that policies, Honorable Speaker. But there is one thing to celebrate, and I think this is to Honorable Millie, that the House representative or the Minnesota State, Honorable Speaker, a Kisi woman that I met and had dinner with on 23rd of May 2024, has actually won the seat. At least for that one we can celebrate because we are linked to that. But I also want to take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, in advance to appreciate the people of America for electing a strong man in the name of Donald Trump. The world is moving in the right direction. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Mover to reply.
Honorable Speaker, I would want to invoke Standing Order number 1 and call upon your discretion to allow me to donate just 4 minutes, 2 minutes actually, a minute to the Honorable Waungo and the Honorable Wakili Geshimo. A minute each.
Honorable Dick Maungu.
Thank you so much, Speaker. Allow me first and foremost to appreciate my good brother KJ for having donated a minute to me, and more so for coming up with such a brilliant motion. I must say that to start with, I'm in full support, and I support this motion because it has come at a point in time when the world is all about science. Mr. Speaker, the world today is science, the world tomorrow is science. And therefore, any idea that comes in to crystallize this one is an idea that is highly welcome, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we live in a very creative world, a world full of creativity and innovations. And all this can be secured by having a science museum, so that those who are here today, those who are here tomorrow, Mr. Speaker, can actually know the origin of what is taking place. More so in Kenya, at a point in time when we are having the CBC, Mr. Speaker. CBC, as you all know, has come in at a good time, Mr. Speaker, and there's no better way in which CBC can be entrenched or supported other than having a science museum that will go a long way, Mr. Speaker, in enabling our kids back in the rural areas to be, to get proper training, proper learning, and be able to actually realize what science can do. All I can call upon is that my brother can maybe be able to promote this motion into a bill so that now we can have it better secured for the good of our country. Otherwise, I oblige and I support the bill. Thank you.
The Honorable Gichimu, Senior Counsel.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thanks for the prayers that one day I'll be a senior counsel. And Honorable Speaker, I support this bill, this motion, which is very progressive. And as many of the members and my colleagues have said, this is a motion that is worth supporting to become a bill and eventually a law that will guide on matters, science, and innovation, so that it can be a science and innovation bill, and we are ready to support Honorable KJ or any other member who comes up with such a bill. Honorable Speaker, at this time that we have CBC, there's an avenue that will be utilized by students that is called STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And I believe this science museum will be of great benefit to these students. And going forward, actually, when I was growing up, we used to have what we call science congresses. We used to have competition in science, and there used to be very good innovations then. Where are they? These are the innovations that could be domiciled in such a museum for the future generations to know that others can also learn from innovations that have been done by others. So in a nutshell, I really support. I know I don't have much to say about it, but because a lot of members have supported it, I totally agree with them, and I support, Honorable Speaker, and thank you for that opportunity.
Honorable KJ, can you reply in the shortest time possible?
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you. And I also want to thank all the members who have spoken to this motion, starting from the members who spoke on the 3rd of October and the members who have contributed this morning. Mr. Speaker, all the contributions have spoken to the fact that Kenya needs a repository for our scientific technology and our knowledge. They have spoken to the fact that Kenya needs a center for scientific education and development, and including research, Mr. Speaker. All the speakers have spoken to the fact that we need to develop a mecca for educational field visits, especially at the time that this, when we have CBC education, Mr. Speaker. More importantly, members have said that Kenya cannot slip through the 4th industrial revolution. We must test new technology that will be useful into the future. And this science museum lends itself as a good place to domicile a sandboxing center, where we can sandbox technology before it is deployed to the public, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, members have said that this could be a good center for an institute for emerging technology. Mr. Speaker, all these contributions are speaking to the main fact that I spoke to when I was moving this motion, Mr. Speaker, where I said that Africa cannot continue being considered as a technological dwarf. We must disabuse this notion that Africa is a technological dwarf. Mr. Speaker, when I was moving this motion, I did point to scientific marvels that have come out of Africa, Mr. Speaker. Scientifically, Africa was a scientific giant, and we must restore this, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Millie Odhiambo brought a very important point, that we must stop drawing a dichotomy between the sciences and the arts. And you spoke very well, Mr. Speaker, that you being a social scientist, being a lawyer, does not stop you from being a scientist, Mr. Speaker. I have spent the better part of my adult life as an artist, Mr. Speaker. However, in 1995, if you go to the records, you shall find that the winning project at the Kenya National Science Congress, at the Kenya Science Teachers College, that project belonged to yours truly, the one and only John K.J. Kiarie. He was a champion in science, Mr. Speaker. But that did not stop me from going into the areas of drama, into the areas of journalism, into the areas of media, into the areas of other emerging performing and visual arts, Mr. Speaker. So this idea of drawing a dichotomy between the sciences and the arts is leading us to where we are today, having a gross shortage in science teachers, Mr. Speaker. So if Kenya is seeking for that pole position in the new world of emerging technologies known as the fourth industrial revolution, the world of cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things. If we are seeking for our pole position in this new world, we must also deliberately develop the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics field without cutting them away from the arts. Mr. Speaker, to your point, a surgeon today needs to be an amazing artist. If a surgeon was not a good artist, they stand the risk of botching up an operation on a girl who has gone for a CS operation to a point where this girl might never want to wear a bikini again in her life. This surgeon is needed to be an artist so that when they conduct surgery, they do not leave you with the scars like the ones I was left with after the post-election violence of 2007, 2008, when the operation was botched by a scientist who is not an artist. But an artist also, Mr. Speaker, has to be a scientist. You cannot be a good sculptor if you do not understand the science of civic engineering or civil engineering, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this place that we are seeking to be a science museum, Mr. Speaker, is not speaking against the museums that exist. There was a point made here in the contributions that there already exist museums of natural history. Mr. Speaker, allow me to say that the Museum of Natural History is in every sense a dead museum, where you put taxidermies and old animals and old artifacts. But a science museum is a living museum. But in a language that we must preserve, Mr. Speaker, they say, itini nanagira anyeki. To translate that is to say that if you go to London, you shall find on one street the science of art, the science of natural history, the science museum, all of them put together in one street as museums lined up in a way that all of them do attract the publics that they need to. Finally, Mr. Speaker, in establishing a science museum, we shall be bringing science home. Mr. Speaker, Kenya is the cradle of mankind. And by being the cradle of mankind, it means that science and technology was birthed in this country. And what has happened over the years, Mr. Speaker, is that because of brain drain, we have bled so much technological minds to other capitals. Today, Mr. Speaker, if you go to the London Science Museum, it is one Kenyan by the name of Professor Washington Yotto, who is the chairperson of the Science Museum in London, the Science Museum group that has more than 5 science museums in the world. Such brains, Mr. Speaker, can be domiciled here in Kenya. At Konza, if we establish a science museum, we can get these amazing brains that are out there to come and establish this museum and lead it to be the first science museum, not only in East Africa, but also in Africa generally. Mr. Speaker, mine was to thank all the members as I was replying, to say that we have an opportunity here. even as other jurisdictions are presenting committees of the future, we as Parliament, before we decide to bring a committee of the future to this House, allow us to start by setting the pace, by establishing a science museum that becomes a repository for our African traditional and emerging technologies, to showcase them to the world, to preserve them, and to ensure that Africa does not remain as the scientific dwarf that it is referred to. Mr. Speaker, I thank you profusely. I also thank all the members who have contributed to this debate, and I also want to tell the members that the Science Museum, the establishment of a Science Museum bill is already in the works, and I shall be asking you to support it when it finally comes to the House. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable John Kiari. The question to the motion will be put the next time. It will be scheduled by the House Business Committee for the convenience of the House. Next order.
Order number 10, Committee of the Whole House.
Very well, members, you may take your places as we go into the Committee of the Whole House. We want to consider, where's that bill? The Kenya Drugs Authority Bill, National Assembly Bill number 54 of 2022. This bill had been dealt with up to clause number 54, so we shall begin with clause 55. It had gone for winnowing as the instructions were given by the Speaker then, and I'm sure many concessions have been agreed upon by the Chair and the members who had amendments. And therefore, this should pave way for us to move much faster than we were moving when it appeared on the order paper. So we may proceed.
Clause 55.
I propose the question that clause 55 be part of the bill. Mover. Mover, I want you to be clear, not for the sake of only the House, but the public.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Chair, that clause 55 be amended as per the order paper. This is by deleting subclause 1 and sub-2, therefore the following new subclause. The registrar shall keep in the prescribed form a register of all medical devices approved by the authority. This is to make provision.
Yes, what's the point of order, Honorable Millie?
Thank you, Chair. I would just want to request that to enable us to move fast, instead of reading, could the Chair just say as per the order paper, then we can follow, instead of saying that it's amended and reads what's there as per the order paper.
I thought it should have been the other way, and that's why I told him, maybe you summarize, but you need to tell the public what we are doing, because it's a very important bill.
Thank you.
Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. This is mainly to make provision for the inclusion of the register of all medical devices as defined in clause 2 and approved by the authority.
Very well, I now propose the question that clause 55 be amended as proposed by the Chair. In the absence of any interests, I now put the question that clause 55 be amended as proposed by the Chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 55 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 56.
I propose the question that clause 56 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I propose that the clause 56 be amended as per the order paper. This is to incorporate internationally accepted terminology and to redraft for proper grammatic of law. I think this is just straightforward.
I propose the question as that clause 56 be amended as proposed by the mover or by the chair. I now put the question that clause 56 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? I now put the question that clause 56 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 57.
I propose the question that clause 57 be part of the bill. Mover.
I propose, Honorable Chair, propose that clause 57 be amended as per the order paper. This is to provide for penalty for the offense of deceptive labeling, packaging, and sale of medical devices. It's just fine.
I propose the question that clause 57 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 57 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 57 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 58.
I propose the question that clause 58 be part of the bill. There's an amendment. Mover.
Honorable Chair, clause 58, we have amendment to clause 58A, B. I don't know whether I can prosecute all of them together or one.
Proceed.
Okay. So as per the order paper, in A, Honorable Chair, this will enable the country to comply with WHO standards on manufacturing, because this clause is the most recent WHO organization prescribed guidelines on good manufacturing practice. In B, Honorable Chair, by inserting the new subclause immediately after subclause 2, this to allow the authority to consult and receive advice from the Kenya Nuclear Regulatory Authority that exercises regulatory control over nuclear and radioactive materials and facilities under Section 6C1 of the Nuclear Regulatory Act number 29 of 2019. This is to require importers, distributors, or dealers to keep records of medical devices submitted to the authority. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
I now put the question that I now propose the question that clause 58 as amended be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 58 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 58 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 59.
I propose the question that clause 59 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 59 be amended as per the order paper. This is to provide for the registration of establishments for medical devices by the authority. The amendment further seeks to amend subclause 3 for proper grammatic of law and to provide a penalty for the offense of supply of unapproved medical devices. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Daud.
Chair, in clause 57, it mentioned 2 million and 3.
No, we are now in
Yeah, I'm just referring to clause 57, where it says it was 2 million and 3 years. But in clause 59, now it comes to 1 year, 1 million and 2 years. So I find that it does not go together because it's regarding medical devices. Could the chair please explain further on that?
Hold your horses. Let me propose the question. I propose the question that clause 59 be amended as proposed by the chair. Hondoed, you can now come up.
Thank you, Chair. I had initially wanted to comment on clause 57, but I think you didn't see my intervention. But I want the chair to now tell us between 57, clause 57, where he has amended to the fine to be 2 million and 3 years imprisonment, and it's the same medical devices we are talking about, and in clause 59, it's 1 million and 2 years imprisonment. So both these clauses, you know, they're intertwined. So we need to now know exactly from the chair, what exactly is he intending to do with this?
Chair.
Honorable Chair, in 57, we are talking about a person who labels, packages, treats, processes, sells, or advertises. While in 59, we are talking about a person who sells, manufactures, packages, stores, or conveys for sale. So I think there are two different things that we are talking about.
Very well, Honorable Millie.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to thank the Chair because he's adopted my proposed amendments to that clause, but also just indicate that this proposed amendment is very good. It goes to some degree to help cases that we have seen where there's a lady who died because of botched performance of some beauty enhancing techniques. I'm just hoping that even as we go on, there will be provisions that actually criminalize the act, not just the supply and sales. I'm hoping that is there as well.
Very well. I now put the question that clause 59 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 59 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Title of Part 11.
I now propose the question that Part 11 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I propose that a new part be amended by inserting new part immediately after the new clause 59A, that is Part 8, the National Pharmacovigilance
Order, Chair.
System.
Part 11 is actually the title.
Is it 11?
Yeah. Part 11, go to the order paper.
New part.
On the order paper, it's page
yes,
2,800.
Part 11 that will be amended in the title of Part 11 by deleting the expression Part 11 and substituting therefore the expression Part 9.
Very well. I now propose the question that Part 11 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that Part 11 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 60.
I propose the question that clause 60 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 60 be amended as per the order paper. This is establishment of the National Quality Control Laboratory of the authority. Of the authority, which shall be used as a facility and under A, this is a supplement of National Quality Control Laboratory. Under A, the examination and testing of health products and technologies, including vaccines and biopharmaceuticals, and any material or substance from or with which and the manner in which drugs may be manufactured, processed, or treated, and ensuring the quality control of drugs and medical substances. The various functions are listed. I don't know whether I continue with B, C, D, E, and F.
No, let's deal with that one.
Or A, we deal with A.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Because there's an amendment by Honorable Millie also on this, but there was a lot of winnowing. So I'm sure you have already, if the one by the chair goes through, then the one of Honorable Millie falls. That is clause 60. But let me prosecute the one for the chair.
Thank you.
No order, Honorable Millie. Let me prosecute the one for the chair, and let me propose first before you speak on this. I propose the question that clause 60 be amended as proposed by the chair. Honorable Millie.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, maybe I can just indicate this so that I don't have to speak here in after. Chair, if you notice, a lot of my amendments had to do with the inclusion of herbal medicine, which I'd actually spoken to on in the previous motion, that I think we need to include our herbal medicine. Having gone through the winnowing process, the chair convinced me that we will be bringing a separate bill that takes into account the issues of herbal medicine. So I dropped all my amendments, so I really don't have any further amendments to this bill. Thank you.
Very well. But let me hear Honorable Wood first before we listen to the chair.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I would want to try to convince the mover, the Chair Health, on number five, where it says the director of the National Quality Control Laboratory shall be registered pharmacist and shall possess a master's degree in a science-related field from a recognized university.
Order, Honorable Daud. We are not yet on
We are not there?
I
thought it's... Okay.
We are on A. Very well. Proceed, Chair, and make a comment.
Honorable Chair, I want to confirm to Honorable Millie Odhiambo, the minority whip, that the bill on traditional herbal medicine is already with the Speaker. It's already with the Speaker. Yes.
Yes, Honorable Kaluma.
Chair, so that we move expeditiously, may I also inform the Chair and the House that all the amendments under my name on the order paper went through winnowing and were agreed to be dropped. I therefore withdraw them whenever they come up so that we can expeditiously move with the chair of the committee on the amendments agreed during that harmonization process with the committee.
And then let me just take
And Honorable Chair, let me also thank the chair for that bill he has mentioned will be coming on traditional medicine. There is a lot in that area in terms of scientific knowledge that Honorable Millie was talking about, which we are losing when our older members of society pass on. My own mother is a traditional, herbalist. I told you, Chair, this thing women are calling fibroids, you see them going for surgery. My mother just needs to give you a glass or two of a herb. And
did you say herbalist or magician?
No. Herbalist.
No, thank you.
Herbalist. And it works very well. My own grandfather, Honorable Chair, you must have seen some scar on my leg here, was bitten by a pufferder. And the bark of a tree was just chipped and put there, and it sucked all the poison. We lost all that when my grandfather died. So I'm very grateful.
Point of information.
Only if Honorable Kaluma will be willing to be informed.
Honorable
Kaluma, do you want to be informed?
Okay, inform me.
On Millie. Precisely.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, actually, there's a member, I don't know which member was saying this off record. That is that magician or herbalist. And Chair, because I actually did this at a master's level, that sometimes we discredit ourselves as Africans. When the knowledge we have on herbs, which actually forms the basis for most medicines worldwide, when it is done by the West, it is medicine. When it is done by us, it is magic. It is not magic. It is science. It is traditional science. So the knowledge Honorable Kaluma's mother has is science. It's just its indigenous knowledge that we have not packaged in fancy words. And that is why I'm very keen on herbal medicine.
So, Honorable Chair, the point was that all my amendments in the order paper,
yes,
for purposes of clarity and expedition, are hereby formally withdrawn so that we can move and pass this law.
Thank you. And I wanted to bring in Honorable Dawood, but before then, let me hear from the leader, or majority leader.
Honorable Chair, and I want the attention of the Honorable Kaluma, the Honorable Ochieng. I want to inform Kaluma one thing. You see, when Kaluma says his mother is a traditional herbal, it's not traditional, it's herbal. You know, that herbal tree today exists, and your mother can go and pick it today. It is not traditional. The knowledge could be traditional.
So the semantics.
But the medicine is herbal. The Chinese today are selling herbal medicine all over.
Very well.
You know, but we cannot put that of your mother in a shop because we have called it traditional. So I think we need to give it its right place.
Thank you, leader. Your
point
is
herbal,
made.
not traditional.
Your point is made. Let's make progress. To bring in Hondood, Chair, could you speak on all those amendments in clause 60? Up to Chair, speak on all the amendments in clause 60. Yes, so that Dawood can then come in, and then we seal it.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Chair, in clause 60, I want to amend as per the order paper. In 61, this is establishment of the National Quality Control Laboratory of the authority, which its functions as defined as per the order paper. And then in 2, the National Quality Control Laboratory shall be the quality control laboratory of health products and technologies for the authority. In 3, the board shall appoint a director of the National Quality Control Laboratory who shall be responsible to the authority for the day-to-day management of the National Quality Control Laboratory. In 4, the director of the National Quality Control Laboratory shall hold office on such terms and conditions of service as may be specified in the instrument of appointment by the board. In 5, the director of the National Quality Control Laboratory shall be a registered pharmacist and shall possess a master's degree in science-related field from a recognized university. Then in C, the director of the National Quality Control Laboratory, his functions are given as per the order paper. In 7, the funds of the authority used for management of the National Quality Control Laboratory shall consist of monies received or recovered under the part and portion of the monies appropriated by the National Assembly to the authority. 8, subject to Section 7, the monies generated by the National Quality Control Laboratory in the course of the performance of its functions under this section shall be solely expended on the laboratory. Honorable Chair, the National Quality Control Laboratory, headed by a director appointed by the authority to become a regulatory laboratory of the authority, is a recommendation of the WHO so that the country can achieve maturity level 3. To ring-fence monies from the laboratory such that monies generated by the laboratory shall be solely expended on the laboratory, and the authority ought to give a portion of the monies appropriated to it by Parliament to the laboratory. Thank you, Chair.
Very well, Hondood.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, my concern was in 5, where I was requesting the chair, if he can do a further amendment, remove the master's degree, because a pharmacist is a pharmacist, and I think that's good enough, because you do not become a pharmacist so easily. So if the master's degree can be removed from this, I would appreciate. And the last one would be 8, where the money is ring-fenced. That's a very good idea. But Chair, it may need to be changed in the finance, in the way the Financing Act is, because A&A has to be deposited and be approved to be used. So I'm not very sure about 8, if it is possible to be, it can be done. The last one was regarding Honorable Kaluma, the one he was talking about traditional medicine and that, herbal. Ayurveda in India is the biggest thing in the world. So herbal medicine is the way to go.
Very well. Oh, let's hear from Honorable Makali.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I also wanted to comment on the issue of the financing of the authority. And I totally agree with what Honorable Dawood has said. It will not be fair just to ring-fence the resources through this act, because we also have the Public Finance Management Act, which allows on how to spend resources which have been collected by authorities. But I thought the best way would have been a situation where you just make this authority independent, so that whatever resources they collect, they're able to use it without getting money from the exchequer, because that will make it very complicated. Once you start saying the National Assembly will also be appropriating resources for them, it means now we are going back to their consolidated fund. How I wish you made them be self-financing. In that case, you sort a lot of issues with regulations. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Finally, on the same, Honorable Elachi.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I also just want to ask the Chair to really help us, because one of the challenges we are facing, and where we've lost women for the last 2 months, Chair, is on issue of quality on management in plastic surgery and cosmetic manufacturing. And so when we bulk them with huge words, this is how, again, we end up finding ourselves losing just one thing. So in A or B and or C, there is need to just put it black and white. You either call it plastic, you either call it cosmetic manufacturing, but let it be there for the purposes of the late Lucy and the owner of Miale and the wife of the PA of Natembea. All of them have lost lives in a few weeks just because of that, Mr. Speaker. And may they rest in peace.
Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Just to make a comment on what Honorable Elijah has raised, is that we've actually summoned the medical practitioners and dentist council in relation to the recent incident. Because apparently from information we have is that that facility is a level 2 facility, which is not licensed to do cosmetic surgery. So we must be able to make sure that the right facility is the one offering the various services. So we are on top of that. And if you have time, tomorrow the CS and the CEO will be appearing before the Health Committee. You can join us for any clarifications. And just to come back on this, Honorable Dawood, the minimum requirement we've already said is just a degree in pharmacy. But we have to raise the level, because just having a degree alone is not enough. So we are saying a master's in a related field, so that you can have a master's in management, you can have a master's in other areas within that can be able to assist you in managing it. And when you read about the funds, we are saying that the funds to be used for the management of the National Quality Control shall consist of monies received, that is monies received or recovered under this part and portion of the monies appropriated by the National Assembly to the authority. So the National Assembly we are not closing it from appropriation. It's appropriating to the authority, and the authority can give that money to the National Quality Control Laboratory, which shall be the laboratory of the authority. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. I now put the question that clause 60 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as without opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 60 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as without opinion say aye? Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 61.
I propose the question that clause 61 be part of the bill. Mover?
Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 61 be amended as per the order paper. This is for compliance with the WHO guidelines, which requires that a certificate of analysis should be issued by a person capable of ensuring the authenticity of the test samples. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. I propose the question that clause 61 be amended as proposed by the mover. I now put the question that clause 61 be amended as proposed by the mover. Will as many as without opinion say aye? Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 61 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as without opinion say aye? Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Part 12.
I propose the question that part 12 be part of the bill. Mover?
Honorable Chair, I propose that Part 12 be amended as per the order paper. This is just to correct a minor error in numbering of the parts of the bill.
I propose the question that part 12 be amended as proposed by the mover. I now put the question that part 12 be amended as proposed by the mover. Will as many as of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 62.
I propose the question that clause 62 be part of the bill. There's no amendment on this one. I now put the question that clause 62 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 63.
I propose the question that clause 63 be part of the bill. There are several amendments. Mover.
Honorable Chair, clause 63A be amended as per the order paper. This is to harmonize the terms used in the bill with the title of the bill as proposed for amendment.
Please deal with all of them.
Then in B, this is to include enrolled pharmaceutical technologies as part of persons who are covered under the provided defense in relation to offenses as regards prohibition of advertisements on diseases listed in the 6th schedule.
Very well. I propose the question that clause 63 be amended as proposed by the chair. Yes, Honorable Daud.
I support this amendment because pharmaceutical technologies had been forgotten for a long time, and I thank the chair in inserting pharmaceutical technologies. Thank you.
You are in agreement? Yes, Honorable Watch.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I propose that clause 63(3) be amended as per the order paper. And the reason for this is that the provision thereon is redundant, as the same is already provided under Part 5 of the bill.
Honorable Watch, I hope you are not dealing with your amendment. Are you? Because I will bring you on after
Later.
we
Thank you.
finish
All right.
with
Let
the
me resume my
chair.
seat.
We have you on table here. Very well. I now put the question that clause 63 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Now we bring on Anthony.
Thank you, Chair. I now propose that clause 63(3) be amended as per the order paper, and seeing that there is concurrence from the chair.
amended as proposed by Honorable Oluoch. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 63 as amended
Clause 64.
I propose the question that clause 64 be part of the bill. Chair, I think there's an amendment on this.
Yes. Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 64 be amended as per the order paper. This is just to harmonize the terms used in the bill with the title of the bill as proposed for amendment.
I propose the question that clause 64 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 64 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 64 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 65.
I propose the question that clause 65 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 65 be amended as per the order paper. This is just to ensure objectivity.
I propose the question that clause 65 be amended as proposed by the mover. I now put the question that clause 65 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 65 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 66.
I propose the question that clause 66 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 66 be amended as per the order paper in A to harmonize the terms used in the bill with the title of the bill as proposed for amendment, and in B to include enrolled pharmaceutical technologies as part of persons who are covered under the provided defense in relation to offenses as regards prohibition of advertisements on abortion and false or misleading advertisements.
Very well, I propose the question that clause 66 be amended as proposed by the chair. On Dode.
I thank the chair for putting the pharmaceutical technologies. That's what I had asked him for earlier, and he has done that. Thank you.
Very well, you are in agreement. I now put the question that clause 66 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 66 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 67.
I propose the question that clause 67 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 67 be amended as per the order paper in A, B, and C, and this is just to harmonize the terms used in the bill with the title of the bill as proposed for amendment, and in D, to harmonize the terms used in the bill with the title of the bill as proposed for amendment, and this is to make the fines payable commensurate to the offenses relating to labeling of health products and technologies containing medicine.
Very well, I propose the question that clause 67 be amended as proposed by the mover. I now put the question that clause 67 be amended as proposed by the mover. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 67 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 68.
I propose the question that clause 68 be part of the bill. Mover. There's no amendment on this one and no interest on this one. I therefore put the question that clause 68 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Very well, I hear there are amendments on this one. And there's a deletion. Chair, you may have moved us a little bit faster We go back. This lawmaking process. Clause 68.
I've seen it. My apologies.
And therefore, let me propose the question that clause 68 be part of the bill. Mover.
I propose that clause 68 be amended as per the order paper. It is preferable, this is deletion, preferable to make provision for valid exemptions through regulation as opposed to providing defenses for offenses relating to labeling of medicines.
Very well. Makali, do you have an interest in this? You raised. But before that, I propose the question that clause 60, 68 be deleted as proposed by the chair. Hon Makali.
No, actually, Honorable Chairperson, I didn't have an issue. I was raising a point of order relating to the fact that there's an amendment.
We thank you
because
for
the chair
that.
said there was no amendment.
Thank you. I now put the question that clause 68 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 69.
I propose the question that clause 69 be part of the bill. Mover.
I propose that clause 69 be amended as per the order paper. This is to harmonize the terms used in the bill with the title of the bill as proposed for amendment.
I propose the question that clause 69 be amended as proposed by the chair. I now put the question that clause 69 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 69 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Part 13.
I propose the question that part 13 be part of the bill. Mover.
I propose that part 13 be amended as per the order paper. This is to correct minor error in numbering of the parts of the bill.
I propose the question that part 13 be amended as proposed by the mover. I now put the question that part 13 be amended as proposed by the mover. Will as many as without opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 70.
I propose the question that clause 70 be part of the bill. There seems to be no amendment on this one, Chair. I therefore proceed to put the question that clause 70 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 71.
I propose the question that clause 71 be part of the bill. Mover.
I propose that clause 71 be amended as by the order paper. This is to harmonize the terms used in the bill with the title of the bill as proposed for amendment.
I propose the question that clause 71 be amended as proposed by the mover. I now put the question that clause 71 be amended as proposed by the mover. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 71 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 72.
I propose the question that clause 72 be part of the bill. Mover, and deal with all of them.
I propose that clause 72 be amended as per the order paper. In A, to harmonize the terms used in the bill with the title of the bill as proposed for amendment. And in B, to make a provision for supply of health products and technologies during emergency situations. The amendment also seeks to ensure the supply of health products and technologies shall only be undertaken by registered pharmacists.
I propose the question that clause 73 be amended as I propose the question that clause 72 be amended as proposed by the mover. Yes, Honorable Makali. No, Makali first.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I really want to commend the chair for this requirement that we need a registered pharmacist and not any person. That is very important, I support.
Honored.
Chair, I do not support this one. I would want a further amendment where it says registered pharmacist and a pharmaceutical technologist, because, Chair, what happens is most of the pharmacies in our country are manned by pharmaceutical technologists. We do not have enough pharmacists in this country, and most of the pharmacies are manned by pharmaceutical technologists. If we do not put that amendment there, then I'm afraid we will be closing a lot of pharmacies in this country. So I beseech the chair, if it is possible, we can add to the pharmacists, pharmaceutical technologies, Chair.
Very
now
well.
I would ask...
Underwood, we have heard you. Very well, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I think on that clause 72, the information here we need to know...
Order, Honorable Dawood, you may take your seat. That's there.
Just on a point of information on this point, the issue is not because we want to lock out our pharmaceutical technologists. It's because it's an international requirement of WHO. The World Health Organization expects us to have this amendment in order for us to be compliant with the international standards. Because if we leave it as it is now, what will happen is Kenya wants to be a pharmaceutical manufacturing country for export. We are not able to export to the larger markets like the Americas and Europe and so on, and the rest of Africa, if we don't meet international standards. So this is just to meet under international standards. And if you see, this particular house did reduce the duties and taxes on anyone manufacturing in Kenya. And that is because we wanted to encourage manufacturers to come to Kenya. We want to become a manufacturing country instead of being a net importer. And therefore, at the moment, the pharmaceutical companies that are manufacturing in Kenya can only sell to Somalia and Burundi. So we need, as a country, to make this amendment in order to attain maturity level 3. The best would be to attain maturity level 4. So in order to do that, this amendment is an imperative. Already we've been overtaken by Rwanda, which has achieved maturity level 3, by Tanzania. So we are going to be locked out of manufacturing in the industry. So it's not because we have anything against our farm techs. It is just that this is a requirement of the World Health Organization so that we can meet international standards. And in any case, our pharmaceutical technologists will still be able to conduct the business, except that there is a certain level pharmaceuticals or drugs that they cannot dispense. And this is a standard rule. Even currently as it is, there are some medications that pharmacists cannot dispense without a prescription from a doctor. So there are some medicines that can be sold over the counter, and there are others that cannot be sold over the counter, that you need a prescription. So that is WHO rules. So let us help this country. We are 2 years behind. These are some of the things that we should have done immediately we came into parliament, because we kept saying that we want Kenya to be a manufacturing country.
Very well.
And so it is an imperative for our own economic development. In fact, those farm techs are the ones who will benefit by being hired in those manufacturing plants. Thank you,
Very well.
Honorable Chair.
I know it has been your pet subject, and it's the core of this bill. No, we are bringing you, Chair. You don't have to be in a hurry. So let me just hear Makali in 1 minute. Please, Makali.
Thank you. I think following up on what the Deputy Speaker has said, it is important to get it right, because in the earlier clauses, we've reduced a lot of pharmacists and pharmaceutical technologists. The reason why I didn't raise that matter personally is because I thought this particular clause addresses a higher level than what the Speaker has said. So if what the Speaker has said is right, then it means we might not be achieving the objective she's mentioning in our description.
Very well, and that provides a very good platform for the Chair to speak on that. Chair, proceed.
Chair, this is a WHO requirement, as the Deputy Speaker has put it. And we are talking about here handling of in case of emergencies. When we talk about emergencies, we are talking of an outbreak of, let's say we had the other day, an outbreak of COVID-19. Under that circumstance, the requirement is higher, that somebody who will be able to handle it must be a registered pharmacist. So we cannot just, I think that is where we allowed the other parts, but on this one, yes, thank you.
No, Hondowood is with you after the Deputy Speaker spoke on this, but I hope you have also satisfied Hon. Very well, very well. I now put the question that clause 72 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 72 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 73.
I propose the question that clause 73 be part of the bill. Mover.
Honorable Chair, I propose that clause 73 be amended as per the order paper. This is to harmonize the terms used in the bill with the title of the bill as proposed for amendment.
I propose the question that clause 73 be amended as proposed by the mover. I now put the question that clause 73 be amended as proposed by the mover. Will as many as of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 73 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 74, 75, 76, 77, and 78.
I propose the question that clauses 74, 75, 76, 77, and 78 be part of the bill. There are no amendments on these ones. I now put the question that clauses 74, 76, I'll take it again. I now put the question that clauses 74, 75, 76, 77, and 78 be part of the bill. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
79.
I propose the question that clause 79 be part of the bill. Mover.
I propose that clause 79 be amended as per the order paper. This is intended for 79 is deleted, the functions of inspection of animals which are intended for slaughter and is outside the regulatory of this purview. Those are veterinary functions.
I propose the question that clause 79 be amended as proposed by the mover. Honorable Makali.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, this clause is a very important clause because what it is doing is actually trying to demand that before any health product or technology is brought to this country, there is inspection and verification, which is critical. But I'm a bit worried about the penalty in case you go against that. That is the part 3 of it, where the penalty is only $1 million or 2 years imprisonment. I wish the chair could actually make this more serious than it is now. Because if you have brought such a technology to the country, and then it is harmful to our people, I think $1 million is too little in terms of penalty. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Honorable Dawood.
Chair, one, where it says a health product, where it is inspected on arrival at pre-inspection. Could we not have had it before even it leaves the port where it is coming from? It's inspected like the way vehicles are inspected overseas. So wouldn't it be even, it would be double, that it would be inspected from the port which it is leaving and again be inspected at the port it is coming to. So, you know, you have got double inspections.
Of course, yes, Chair. No, but let's hear from the order. Okay, let's get your guidance.
What I'm deleting, Chair, is clause 79, which talks about a regulatory officer may, for the purpose of this act, inspect any animal intended for slaughter and may seize and examine any meat which the regulatory officer considers to be unfit for consumption. That is a veterinary function which I have deleted. And now we have a new clause, 79. I don't know whether I should read it for the second reading or I just needed the guidance because I explained myself
Not for now.
to that function which we are deleting.
Not for now, but let's hear from Honorable Elachi.
Thank you, Chair. I now agree with the Chair because I was wondering now what he was deleting is okay, yes, but now when you come and you just deal with now only the health products and you forget also we need also our animals to be part of this inspection, then we find ourselves again in some crisis that will come at a time for those who normally bring in also animals and also for those who export meat or something. So we have to be very clear, even as we say, a person who imports is not just importing, but also exporting, because we are saying we are also becoming manufacturers and we shall be exporting. So we have to be clear on that. The other thing I want to agree with Dawood that indeed from the origin is where we start this inspection, because this is how we've ended up, Chair, with so much challenges in terms of especially the antibiotics that we have today in our country. Thank you, Chair.
Very well, Chair. First, to give you direction, the clause we are dealing with is you are deleting and replacing, so it's not a complete new clause. We shall deal with new clauses later. We were still going to give you a chance, so please speak on all the things members have said and explain yourself.
Honorable Chair, with now the replacement, this new clause on inspection and verification of health products and technologies at the ports of entry enables the authority to enforce compliance with the prescribed standards of quality, safety, and efficacy of health products and technologies before release at the ports of entry, so as to prevent concealment, misdeclaration, diversion, and cross-border smuggling of health products and technologies. Thank you, Chair.
Very well. Members are still not satisfied with the issue of penalty. Chair. In 1 minute.
In 3, a person who commits an offense under this section shall, on conviction, be liable to a fine not exceeding 1 million shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years or to both. Is the penalty too lenient?
Very well.
Allow for a further amendment to that.
But at least
we make it 2 million. Then may I speak, Chair, that
there are dissenting voices on this one.
I want to allow them to propose a further amendment.
Chair, take your seat. Let's hear from Honorable. I want to get the comment from Honorable, my colleague in the teaching profession. Proceed, Dorothy.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with Honorable Makari that this crime is so serious, it should attract more penalty, and I propose that we go to 3 million and 3 years or both. Yes, when the crime is committed, that's my proposal.
Very
Chair.
well, Honorable Dawood.
I would propose 2 million and 3 years, because it's already in the medical devices, we already had that kind of penalty. Okay. So, Chair, I would propose 2 million and 3 years, because even in medical devices, we had the same punishment. So at least it looks standard.
Very well, at least you have a rationale. Let's hear the Honorable. Oh. That's Honorable who? Wanyonyi, Kwanza constituency. Give him a mic. Give him any mic around that place. And in 1 minute, Honorable.
Chair, I think this is, we are dealing with the people who are doing business. And when you put it like 3 million shillings as a businessman, you can find your way out. I think, to me, this is a very serious case. We can make it 5 million and 5 years. Because these are businessmen, and you can be able to mobilize what is 3 million shillings for businessmen.
Very well, Honorable Wanyonyi, we have heard you on your figure.
We should do that.
Chair, please. Now rest this matter, Chair.
Chair, a person who commits, I want to do a further amendment to 79.3, that a person who commits an offense under this section shall on conviction be liable to a fine not exceeding 3 million shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years or to both.
Very well. I now put the question that clause 79 be amended as proposed by the chair. Will as many of that opinion say aye?
Aye.
Will as many of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that clause 79 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, because of the constraints of time, and let me call the mover so that we may report progress. Mover.
Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee to report to the House its consideration of the Kenya Drugs Authority Bill, National Assembly Bill number 54, 2022, up to clause 79, and its approval thereof with amendments, and seek leave to see it again.
Very well, honorable members. I now put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Kenya Drugs Authority Bill, National Assembly Bill number 54 of 2022, up to clause 79, and its approval thereof, with amendments, and seek leave to sit again. As many as of that opinion say aye.
Aye.
Will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Chairperson.
Very well, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Kenya Drugs Authority Bill, National Assembly Bill number 54 of 2022, up to clause 79, and approved the same with amendments, and seek leave to sit again.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. I also request Honorable Jesse Lelmengit to second the motion for agreement with the report of the committee of the whole House.
Honorable Speaker, I second. Thank you.
Honorable members, I now propose the question, which is the House do agree with the committee in the said report. We shall put the question at a later time. And honorable members, the time now being 1 p.m. and 3 minutes, this House stands adjourned. Sorry, let me take that again. Honorable members, and the time being 1 and 4 minutes and 5 seconds p.m., this House stands adjourned until today, Wednesday, 6th November 2024 at 2:30 p.m.